It's going to be the people in the field. And if they have a shot, they're not going to listen to Larry Hogan say him to get out, like John Kasich did last time. Brian Kilmeade Show, so glad you're here. Don't move. And remember, if you ever miss the show live, especially in this election with all the breaking news we always generate from this show, get the podcast, BrianKilmeadShow.com.
Do you have a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more that you don't need? Well, don't lapse or surrender your policy. You might be sitting on a gold mine. That's right. You may be able to sell all or part of your life insurance policy to Coventry for cash, or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums, even a term policy. Call Coventry Direct at 800-536-4800. Or visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-536-4800. For over 25 years, we've helped thousands of people sell their policies. And we can probably help you, too. Call us today at 800-536-4800. Or visit CoventryDirect.com to find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. That's 800-536-4800. Call now.
Mark Cox here. Different real estate agents will sell your home for different amounts of money. Don't be fooled into thinking all realtors are created equal, because they're not. Different realtors will get you different results. So the agent you choose to sell your home matters. The experience your agent has, the marketing, the database of buyers, the systems, and the capabilities of your realtor, they all matter. Why? Because how much you sell your home for matters to you. That's why I recommend you call Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty. According to MLS statistics, Gloria sells her listings for more money than the average agent, and she does it with less hassle. With 20-plus years of experience, our local real estate expert, Gloria Liu, knows how to get you the most money for your home, guaranteed. Gloria offers her sellers multiple selling options, so call her at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
More reassurance about an aging leader's health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell facing renewed questions after freezing up during a press briefing last week, the second time in about a month. Well, now his office has released a letter from the Capitol physician, Brian Monahan.
This is a letter to McConnell. It says, my examination of you following your August 30th, 2023 brief episode included several medical evaluations, brain imaging, EEG study, and consultations with several neurologists for a comprehensive neurology assessment. There is no evidence that you have a seizure disorder or that you experienced a stroke, TIA, or movement disorder such as Parkinson's disease.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill, where the Senate returns from the August recess today. McConnell is expected to speak on the Senate floor. First Lady Jill Biden has another round of COVID, the second time since last August. She's staying at the family's beach house in Delaware after testing positive and experiencing mild symptoms. The White House says President Biden has tested negative and will continue to test. He's scheduled to leave for the G20 summit later this week. Alabama tries to make a new congressional map and fails again.
A three-judge federal court panel rejected Alabama Republican lawmakers' attempt at a new congressional map after the Supreme Court told the lawmakers to try again. Alabama's population is a quarter black and yet only has one black majority congressional district. This year, the Supreme Court said create another one or something quite close to comply with the Voting Rights Act. So lawmakers brought a second district's population up from 30 to 40% black. Democratic lawmakers said it wasn't good enough, and now this panel of judges agrees.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, a state lawyer and a cartographer, are now appointed special masters to go back to the drawing board again. Meantime, trial begins in Georgia in a redistricting challenge stemming from the Supreme Court's Alabama ruling. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day, medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Still have that summer humid feel today and tomorrow. Partly sunny skies this afternoon, a couple of spot storms. 92 will do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid. Increasing winds tonight. Chance of a couple of spot storms. Very limited, 75. Wednesday, partly sunny, couple of spot storms. Windy, still humid, near 90 degrees. Cooler and drier air comes in on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
FullyDentalGroup.com, website you can pull up right now and check out this amazing dental office that has fantastic dentists that can meet your specific needs. Everybody puts off going to the dentist for the same reasons, and everybody finds themselves back in a dental chair if they've been putting it off for some of the similar reasons, some pain in your mouth, some discomfort, or just generally speaking, you know that you've put it off for too long. You need to find a dentist who can care for you, or maybe somebody in your family. Fully Dental Group is there to make this a very welcoming, comfortable experience. The entire Frey family goes to Fully Dental Group, and we appreciate the expertise, the top-notch care that they can provide through their experience as dentists, but also through the amazing technology that they've invested in at Fully Dental Group. They're going to provide you the top-tier care in the bi-state region that you've been looking for, and you're going to feel great about it when you leave. Trust me, I have had that experience many times myself, as have my family. 618-288-9670 if you're looking to make an appointment. They're taking new patients today. 618-288-9670. Find them online at FullyDentalGroup.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2023. Save 60%. Code 2023. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
1 in 4 car batteries is weak and needs to be replaced. Let the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts test your battery for free. They can also help you find the best Superstart battery for your vehicle. Learn more at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. Have questions after being injured in an accident? We'll match you with the Onder Law team that's right for you and your case.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-900,000 to learn more.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey
It's
Show.
going to be because Joe Biden and the Democrats and Schumer decide they want to continue a radical agenda that's at odds with the American people. We're just simply saying, look, we've got a plan. We'll fund government to do its job, but we're not going to fund a government to not do its job, to endanger the American people. And if they don't want to go down the road of doing their job, the responsibility I have in Congress, as do my colleagues, is to use that power of the purse. James Madison wrote about it in Federalist 58 and numerous other documents. It is the most effective weapon against a tyrannical executive branch. That is what this administration is.
That is Chip Roy from a little while ago, last week, talking about a government shutdown that could be looming for the United States. Now, the House is back in session today, Congress back in session today, and we are hoping to connect with Chad Pergram at 1:25. We have confirmation that he is going to be there unless, in their words, news gathering needs to take place. So basically, if when we want to have him on the show, he has the opportunity to talk with Kevin McCarthy or maybe the House Minority Leader or somebody in the Senate about something important, we will wait our turn. So I want to know about the government shutdown as you see it. This is a very sensationalized conversation. Seems to take place at least twice a year. And you sit there and you look at the people who you sent to represent you and you think, don't compromise. But at the same time, what happens if the government shuts down? And a lot of times we're sitting here going, I don't know that anything happens if the government shuts down as a threat. People who get their paychecks from the taxpayer-funded money that comes into government, they're going to have to figure out how to make ends meet. And it's a tragedy to look at how inept our legislators are, that the only time we can actually get down to business is when we threaten the livelihoods of those people who do work in those positions. There are services that are funded by the government. I mean, it's a really, really great opportunity to survey all of the money that is being spent by your United States government, money that they took from you, and to see how important those funds are coming in and going out, and consequently how unimportant some of those funds going out might be. I think that the conversation that gets regularly drummed up, certainly here on this show, it's hard to avoid. I mean, honestly, the hardest part of my job right now is to not come on here and talk about Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That's the hardest part of my job. And you might be going, well, Annie, that's the news of the day. I understand that it's the news of the day. It's the news of the day because we make it the news of the day. We are 427 days away from the election. I can't spend the next 427 days pulling my hair out over Donald Trump and Joe Biden, especially when the possibility exists, I think, very certainly that Joe Biden may not be the nominee. And we don't know what's going to happen with Donald Trump's campaign process. I was listening to Kilmeade on 97.1 here before we came on my way into work today, and he was interviewing Chris Christie. And I know a lot of you have strong feelings about Chris Christie, but I think it is important to remember, outside of the context of everything in proximity to Donald Trump, going back to policy-based discussions, Chris Christie would still be a huge asset in the White House over Joe Biden. I don't know how anybody could convince me otherwise. But Brian Kilmeade was talking to Chris Christie. One of the questions he asked him was, are you competing against Ron DeSantis? Are you competing against Donald Trump? Are you trying to compete against Joe Biden? Like, how do you go about this? Because Chris Christie is a 4th, 5th candidate in the national polls. And you know, when I listen to Chris Christie talk about how March and April Donald Trump will be in a courtroom, everything that leads up to that moment in time is essentially in my mind, meaningless. Because once he goes into that courtroom, people are going to see that and they're going to feel a type of way about what they see. They're also going to feel a type of way about what they hear. And Kilmeade asked the question that made me pause and go, that's a very interesting thought. I have always thought about the conflict and the ridiculousness of the pushing of Donald Trump into the courtroom in the middle of the primary as obvious election interference on the Democrats' part. But at the same time, if this is all going to be televised, and if he goes into the courtroom, Kilmeade's question, all credit to Brian Kilmeade, what if he starts really winning? What if during the primary process, Donald Trump's not on the campaign trail because he's stuck in a courtroom where many Americans know that of all of the sins that Donald Trump might have committed, specifically politically, his sins don't look any worse than anybody else who's been in Washington, D.C. for a very long time, but for some reason, he's the one who's going to have to hang for it? What if he gets into that courtroom and he starts winning? He will be untouchable going into the November election. So does anything that we're experiencing right now as Americans matter? Does the economy matter? Does the idea that your paycheck doesn't last as long as it used to matter? Does it make a difference that when you look at how many miles you have till empty in your car and you think, good grief, I just filled this up and it's $70, $80 to fill up, maybe more? Does that matter? Does it matter that people are flirting with the idea of COVID and how when COVID comes back, we need to be smart about this. We should have learned our lesson, and now it might be time to pull the masks out again. I can't throw a mask away fast enough when I find one that creeps out of some hidden corner in my home or in my car. Does it matter that we hear people like Fauci pushing this type of ideology again when it comes to COVID? I want you to listen to, this is from CNN, and I think this was Smirkanish. Is this the Cut 11? Is that the Smirkanish clip I sent you? He's got Dr. Fauci on a show on CNN.
Brett Stevens in The Times talked about Cochrane. Put that on the screen. The most rigorous and comprehensive analysis of scientific studies conducted on the efficacy of masks for reducing the spread of respiratory illness, including COVID-19, was published last month. Its conclusions, said Tom Jefferson, the Oxford epidemiologist who is the lead author, were unambiguous. There is just no evidence that masks, make any difference, he told the journalist Mayan Damasi, full stop. But wait, hold on. What about the N95 masks as opposed to the lower quality surgical or cloth masks? Makes no difference. None of it, he said. Well, what about the studies that initially persuaded policymakers to impose mask mandates? They were convinced by non-randomized studies, flawed observational studies. How do we get beyond that finding of that particular review?
Yeah, but there are other studies, Michael, that show at an individual level for individual. When you're talking about the effect on the epidemic or the pandemic as a whole, the data are less strong.
So Dr. Fauci's he goes on to say something like, but there are other studies. There are other studies. I don't know what it means to have a Cochrane review. I don't know what kind of medical weight that carries. So I do what anybody would do is I go to Google. And I like to check things on Google a lot because I want to know what everybody else is reading. If you're a DuckDuckGo person or if you're searching other places, I find great value in that. But most people Google. So if someone's like, Cochrane review, what's a Cochrane review? Cochrane systematic reviews are generally considered reliable summaries of the evidence. They have earned this badge of honor because the Cochrane collaboration has developed stringent methodologies to reduce bias and ensure trustworthy interpretation of the evidence. So if you're somebody who just pulls up Google and is like, well, who said that, Smirkanish, which doesn't sound like a real name, and it always sounds like a very elite emotion. I don't know. When you see that and you hear all of these studies say, hey, listen, Masks are not what is working. It hasn't worked, and it's not something that when if we have a rise in COVID, folks, it's very important to keep your ducks in a row. It's very important to not get confused about things. The idea that COVID is still out there and still exists is a real thing. But so is the flu. So is RSV. So are these other things that if you get them and you have a pre-existing condition that causes a conflict, you need to take that stuff seriously. But you're not shutting my life down for it. I will make the decisions for myself. My husband and I will make the decisions for our family on how we react to this. And there will be no government interference in how we choose to raise our children and what they have to put on their face. That's not happening again. It's not happening again. Does any of this matter when the main conversation is always about Trump Biden? So every day that I come to prepare for this show, and I'm living my own existence where I'm trying to make ends meet with bills. And, you know, I tweeted out about this, but everything in our house is breaking right now all at once. I don't know why it has to happen all at once. It's kind of rude. But we're doing the best we can to try to save for times like this. And so you have a little bit of savings and you take care of business, and then you go, good grief, I hope one more thing doesn't happen. How many people are experiencing that without the savings behind them? How many people are watching the president of the United States trounce around the entire country championing Bidenomics while they're looking at the next emergency to come down the pike and go, I can't afford it. I can't do it. Every fix that you have to make, everything that you have to replace, every single one of them is a situation where you go, I don't know that I can handle the next thing. But the president of the United States right now is telling you that it's as good as it gets. It's been built from the bottom up, and everything's getting better, and he wants you to call it Bidenomics. There are so many things that are happening right now in our daily lives that, yes, will be incredibly affected by who wins the next election. And if it is Biden-Trump, I'm ultra MAGA, Trump train, whatever, all day. No question about it. But how do we make sure that the people who aren't running for president, how do we make sure that the people who are running for your state representative, how do we make sure that the person who's running for your governor, how do we make sure that the person who's running for your county board, how do we make sure that on all of those different levels, that first and foremost, as a voter, that we're informed and that we know what we need to see change, what we need to see grow, what we need to see attended to? How do we make sure that those issues are the ones that are being addressed by all of the people in a position to address them? The first thing you have to do is, I'm not telling you not to think about Trump, Biden, or the presidential election. I watch it as hobby and sport as much as I do for it professionally. And when I say that it's a labor to try to come on the air and not talk about Biden and Trump all the time, it's a labor of love. I'm still interested in it as much as you are. But we can't get so fixated on this idea of this heavyweight championship face-off. Imagine it being Biden heavyweight Trump. Imagine spending the next 427 days putting all your chips in that pot and not paying attention to the people who are local, the people who are in your state government, the people who can dramatically affect your everyday existence when you hold them accountable, when you seek out good candidates for those positions, when you know who their names are, and maybe even do a little bit of effort, volunteer, energy, donating, whatever it is for you, and make effects at that level. It's an incredibly important thing to do, and it's so easy to overlook because the Trump-Biden story is blockbuster material. Try to stay focused on the fact that the Trump-Biden story matters because you matter. Not because Biden matters, not because Trump matters, not because the Democrat Party matters or the Republican Party matters, or you want to see them both burn down in the same set of flames. It's because of you that any of that matters in this country until we no longer demand the focus be on us. That's where the fix has to come from. It has to come from the people. And I don't see a lot of recalibration focus on these issues when it doesn't devolve into something that has to do with Donald Trump or Joe Biden. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Jay Ashcroft. He's the Missouri Secretary of State. He's running for governor, of course, but there are a lot of issues that are facing the country that Missouri has taken a lead on. Jay Ashcroft is going to talk to us about some of those things, how it's important to make sure that in our endeavor to make sure that these instances of improvement that I've been talking about can be improved. Well, you need to make sure your elections are secure, of course. Jay Ashcroft has worked very hard in Missouri to make sure that that's the case. And before we go, we got news, a little bit of breaking news right now. And United Airlines has asked for the FAA to issue a ground stop due to equipment outages. There aren't any further details. And Brad, you listened in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just United.
Just
it's not
United.
all
Right.
the planes down,
And-
which is a little different.
Right, and the planes that are in the air right now for United will continue on to their destinations.
And then a grounding of them.
And then but if you're waiting to take off, your flight is going to be stopped.
All right. Well, if you're flying United today, pay attention to those flights, and hopefully they get that rectified quickly. Jay Ashcroft with the Annie Frey Show when we return.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
If you're looking to make a jewelry purchase, or maybe you've been thinking about getting yourself a nice watch, have you checked out the Diamond Shop yet? They're in Clayton. They've been serving St. Louis since 1910. These folks know the jewelry business. And when you want to go to somebody who is going to treat you with respect, regardless of the gigantic budget you're walking in the door, or the very modest budget, under $100, they got stuff for you. They want to talk to you. They want to help you. They want to provide something special for you. That's one of the things I appreciate a lot about the Diamond Shop is since they are family-owned and operated business, it's not like going to a big chain store where you're thinking, am I going to see this in a bunch of other places? The Diamond Shop is going to provide you a unique experience. It's going to be customized to your needs. And they also have a VIP program for you. If you go to thediamondshop.net, you can become a VIP on there and get access to great opportunities to save, early heads up on sales that might be coming up, and discounts that might become available. They also have special financing for you, 6 months, same as cash. So it's beginning of September. If you were looking to buy something for Christmas or maybe something for even Valentine's Day, think about that. 6 months, same as cash right now. You can stretch those payments out over the course of that 6 months, and it's just like you bought it today. Go online right now and find your special piece at thediamondshop.net.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and wondering how long your money will last? Are you also sick of worrying about losing your life savings in the next market crash? I'm Thomas Helbig with the Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. Let us build your own personalized structured income plan, which will show you how much income you can receive in retirement, but more importantly, it will show you how long your money will last. Stop wondering if you have enough to retire comfortably.
Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. We'll teach you the strategies you won't hear from your broker or banker. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping our clients retire with confidence for the past 37 years. Let us help you. So go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness 101 for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness 101. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for the Honor Flight today at gsl.honorflight.org. And for heating services, visit aircomfortservice.com. Hey, it's Annie. Join me at the 9th Annual Madison County GOP Patriot Scramble Golf Tournament. It's Friday, September 15th. We're broadcasting live noon to 3 p.m. from Oakbrook Golf Club in Edwardsville. You golf, we talk. For information or to sign up to play, visit 971talk.com/events.
Take a seat right over there. Sat on the stairs, stay or leave. The cabinets are bare and I'm unaware of just how we got into this mess. Got so aggressive. I know we meant all good intentions. So pull me closer. Why don't you pull me close? Why don't you come on over? I can't just let you go. Oh, baby. Why don't you just meet me in the middle? I'm losing my mind just a little.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Hurricanes have hit California before. Hurricanes have hit Florida before. Floods have hit Vermont. The hurricane actually didn't hit Hawaii. The high winds did. The one things that you can look at, even if the temperature has changed before on this earth and gone down and gone up, the mitigation, the fuel, the grass. Why did some buildings survive and others not?
So that's the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, talking about how we've heard so much from the president himself. Even he'll be lamenting of the tragedies we've experienced across the country, and then it always kind of funnels into climate change. We were just speaking last week that it used to be the Democratic Party used to be about the little guy. It used to be about the blue collar worker and trying to grow the middle class. That is not what this Democratic Party is about anymore. They are focused squarely on climate change. It always comes back to climate change. And there are a lot of different ways that a Democrat-controlled government has made you have to focus on that as well. And you might not even realize that it's happening. Let's speak to our friend, Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft joins us now. He is running for the governor of Missouri, and he is on with the Annie Frey Show right now. Welcome back to the show, Secretary. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Hope you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend.
Yes, it was. It was good. It was relaxing. I hope you had the same as well. I have an opinion piece in front of me, and it says Ashcroft ESG rule, a common sense step for transparency and freedom. And that phrase ESG, I think, is something that is a good place to start, because I think people hear that phrase and they don't realize how big of a role it is playing, even in our everyday lives, when you look at the businesses that employ ESG practices.
Well, we're seeing the government and businesses that want to be governments that are influencing who can get capital, who can invest in what. They're silencing different points of view. And I just said, when it's Missouri investors' money, I want them to be in charge. If they want to invest in ESG, they can. If they want to invest it so that some of the funds that would otherwise go to them go to their church or to a dog park, you name it, they can. But in Missouri, if you're going to do that, you have to tell the investor and get their permission. I mean, I thought we all used to agree on this idea of notice and consent and consumer disclosure, but Brand X doesn't like it because they know it lets the cat out of the bag.
You know, when you think about the idea that the consumer would be in the driver's seat, and that's one of the great things about this country is that the individual citizen, the people have the ability to make these decisions for themselves. Someone's not out there making all of those decisions for them. Certainly in the Biden administration, but we've seen it in Congress as well. And I'm sure we've seen it in certain instances in Missouri as well. Our friends on the left work very hard to say, you know what, just sit down. I got this for you. And they say, we'll take care of you. They want to provide security and they want to provide this opportunity to help make decisions for you. It just takes a little bit of your freedom in order to do it. It's a pretty consistent thing across all levels of government.
Well, there's that old saying that he that would give up liberty for security deserves neither.
Right.
And, the Democrats have been the worst offenders of this. But unfortunately, in Missouri, there's a large group of Republicans that are like, oh, big government's bad. Wait, we're in charge? Well, we can run big government well. That's not true. No one can run big government well. When government is big, it inherently gets in the way of individuals making their own decisions and the potential to make the decisions that are best for them.
So we're speaking with Jay Ashcroft right now. He's the current Secretary of State for the state of Missouri. When you were looking at Republicans who think we can do big government better than the Democrats, how do you see a real wave of conservatism and constitutionalism coming in and rebalancing the system for the benefit of Missourians?
Well, obviously, we need the citizens to get involved. We need new leadership and leadership that's truly conservative. The most easy example, I think, is look at all the Republicans that don't believe that the people should be able to be in control of their own children's education. Oh, no, we have to listen to the administrators. We have to listen to the school board. No, those children are put there by God in trust for those parents to care for them. Parents should be in charge of that. We just had a recent Missouri Supreme Court ruling where one of the judges on the Missouri Supreme Court writing the opinion said that the decision of whether or not a child is allowed to miss school is up to the school, not to the parents. I find that abhorrent, and we need to elect different people that understand that government was created by the people, not the other way around.
Missouri Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft joining us now. How do we get there's such a separation between the two, I would say, like the big Republican Party and the big Democrat Party. And in the middle of those entities that exist in a way to make sure that we're always at the edge of our seat with our popcorn waiting to see what happens next are Missourians who are trying to fill their tank full of gas, are Missourians who are trying to make the paycheck last long enough to go to the grocery store, who are trying to take care of their kids, keep masks off their kids in classrooms, to be able to send their kid to the school that they want to send their school to, not the one that their zip code says they have to go to. Lots of these choices that Missourians are having to make right now that are not easy to make today because the two political parties are so far away from each other. It's like the forgotten man in the middle.
You can't just trust the party designation, and no offense, but you can't just trust the radio ads or the TV ads. You have got to get to know people. We the people have to get out and find good people and support them and encourage them to run. And when people go into office, say they'll do one thing and do another, we need to make sure we don't reelect them. And that's why it's so important that we get out not only on primary day, but before primary day, so the people of the state will have a real choice and we can replace some rhinos.
Well, and, a part of that is people want to get involved. People want to participate. But there is, on both sides of the aisle, in the last 10 years, we've seen a lot of questioning of the election process. And currently, you have a man running who's leading the primary for the Republicans, who's very, very skeptical is not even a strong enough word of the previous election. In Missouri, you've worked hard as the Secretary of State to make sure that voters of any walk of life can know that the elections are secure. How do you do that in this state? And how could it be replicated elsewhere?
You refuse to sit down and shut up when leadership and those in authority tell you to quit making noise. You just keep coming back and saying, no, we have to do this. No, we have to do this. We have to make sure that we have accessibility that we have security, that we have credibility, that we have extreme ability and visibility for people to see what's going on in our elections. I'm going to be calling on the legislature to do more things. I'd like to see a citizenship requirement for registration and for voting. I'd like to see us define residency so that everyone who's otherwise eligible to vote has one and only one place where they could be resident, so we can check that with canvassing. I'd like to see us rework our audit procedures. We have some now. Every election gets a small level of auditing. We need to enhance that. There are a lot of things that we can do. I'm going to be pushing the legislature to do that. What I will tell you is this much. I'm going to be on the ballot on August 6th of 2024. I am not concerned about how those votes will be tabulated in Missouri. But when I look at what other states have done in the past, I'm so glad we're not like them.
You know, I think about when we talk about the national election and we think about the presidential election, it's probably going to come down to 5 or 6 states. Compare to me what you've done with Missouri to how Arizona has looked during an election, how Nevada has looked during an election. Quite a stark difference.
One of the things that we've really done that I think is integral is we are really focusing on pushing people to vote in person. Vote in person where you'll have to show that government-issued photo ID, where you won't have teams of people going through ballots in the days after the election, finding mysterious ballots, or was that ballot counted or not? Was that appropriate? We've gone to paper ballots for the official record of your vote. It's not ones and zeros on some computer chip. It's paper ballots. We've outlawed ballot curing. We've outlawed ballot drop boxes. We've authorized my office to do audits of election authorities to make sure that their voter rolls are clean. And we're working with other states to make sure our rolls are clean. There's a whole realm and range of things that we're doing. I think those are the main things. But this is a race that's never over. I'm an engineer. I believe in continuous improvement. We need to always be doing things better to make sure people trust our elections. And I would encourage anyone with questions, sign up to be a poll worker, to be a poll challenger, to be a poll watcher. We want you behind the curtain. We want you seeing what's going on. If you think there are problems, if you have any ideas, we want you to let us know so we can make changes.
How do people do that? How do they get involved?
If they want to get involved as a poll worker, a poll judge, a poll challenger, they can reach out to their local political party. So if you're in St. Louis County, you can either reach out to the St. Louis County Republican Central Committee or the Democrat Central Committee or the Libertarian, and so on and so on. Wherever you are, we changed the law to make sure that those committees can make sure that the people that are saying they're Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, you name it, actually are.
Well, Jay Ashcroft, Secretary of State for the state of Missouri, we appreciate your time today and your efforts to make sure that Missourians can be confident in the system, but they do have to participate in it in a broader way than just voting, although we want to encourage that as well. Thank you for being with us today. It's great to speak with you.
Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You as well. Bye-bye. He's the Missouri Secretary of State. He's running for governor of Missouri as current Governor Parsons. His term is going to be up. Jay Ashcroft. Good to speak with him. We're going to take a quick break here. When we return, Wiggins America. Wiggins back, of course, with us. And he's going to have the long weekend roundup. What did we miss over the weekend? He's going to inform us. And as he likes to say, if he doesn't tell you about it, it didn't happen. We'll be right back.
The kitchen floors are wet, and taps are still running, dishes are
The
broken.
Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
I know we meant all good intentions. So pull me closer. Why don't you pull me close? Why don't you come on over? I can't just let you go. Oh, baby. Why don't you just meet me in the middle?
I've been talking to you about ways that you can save money, but I want to talk to you about ways that maybe you can spend a little money, but not as much as you would have to if you were going to do a whole kitchen replacement of those cabinets. It's classic kitchen refacing. In St. Anne, I went to visit and met the owner and the operator, family-owned and operated business. And when you walk into his shop there and you see the beautiful displays that are out, you're like, I want that kitchen, and I want that kitchen, and I want that one. And the way that they get you to the place where you have a beautiful, modern, just really, really fresh kitchen look in your home is by doing classic kitchen refacing. This is an incredibly different process than ripping out all the cabinets and putting new cabinets in. That is a pricey, pricey way to go about remodeling your kitchen. It's less expensive to go this way. They change the look of your cabinets to a wood or paint color. They can add countertops in granite, laminate. They can add hinges and pulls that are trendy of the finish that you've been looking for. It's classic kitchen refacing, and it's a really, really smart move. You can go online to classickitchenrefacing.com and learn more about what they're doing. But if you want to give them a call and start a conversation today, 314-739-1730. That's 314-739-1730. classickitchenrefacing.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
Do you have an invention idea but don't know what to do next? Call InventHelp today. We have representatives nationwide who will explain the InventHelp process step by step. Over 10,000 patents have been secured through InventHelp's patent referral services. The InventHelp data bank includes thousands of companies who have agreed to review new ideas. We've been helping inventors since 1984. Let's help you next. Get started today.
Call 1-800-217-4380. That's 1-800-217-4380. Again, 1-800-217-4380.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-826-9895. That's 800-826-9895. 800-826-9895.
Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow at AMCO.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
Not only is Wiggins America coming up next, but so is Jim Carafano at 1:05 and Chad Pergram, the senior congressional correspondent for Fox News, at 1:25. So a whole lot coming up here shortly, so stick around. It's 12:45. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
Awesome. That's what I'm talking about.
97.1 FM Talk.
I look forward to hearing the station all day.
Everyone is welcome. This is the Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Wiggins!
Yeehaw.
Monday Roundup on a Tuesday. But that's a good reminder, isn't it, that it's Tuesday already?
Yeah, I forgot already.
So that is my PSA to you. Today is Tuesday. Don't forget that. The first story that you may have missed this weekend is from Alderwoman Maria Haddon in Chicago's 49th Ward. She said someone has planted a fake sign at Loyola Beach in Rogers Park, Chicago. The sign claims that the area is a nude beach. Haddon reminded residents that some clothing is required at all Chicago beaches, but I'm telling you, that sign looks very, very official.
Yeah, it does. Holy cow.
So somebody made this sign. They actually made two of them.
Put them. I'm telling you.
That's
that
wrong.
Sign.
That is wrong and very funny.
It is very funny.
Shame on you.
She even acknowledged that it was funny. She said that
how many people see that in where Chicago? Like
in Chicago.
Chicago?
Yeah, it says Loyola Beach in Rogers Park, wherever that is.
Is that on the lake?
That's my assumption.
Or is it like in Forest Park?
No, I think this is probably Lake Michigan is my guess. There's a lot of beach for Lake Michigan.
It's actually just a town called Loyola Beach.
Yeah, it's like Pontoon Beach.
Go to Pontoon Beach. Hey, is this a nude beach?
Don't get any ideas, folks. And if you do, don't credit us.
Yeah, I just left Granite. Can I take my clothes off?
Yeah.
They look real. The two signs, they're rectangular signs. I mean, they look very official. They have the Chicago Park District seal on them.
That's the thing. None of this is hard to pull off.
I guess not. Somebody had to put a little bit of work into making these signs, though. These aren't just printed at Kinko's.
Really cared.
Somebody who cared. If I were looking for the culprit, I'd look for the person sitting just out of reach of this sign with a camera, because that's probably who planted it.
Did people do it then?
There's no report that anybody did, but that's what I would want to watch for, just in case.
Nobody who shows up to that beach or wherever it might be, that town, nobody who shows up naked is the person who
put the sign up.
It's not what when you think of seeing naked people.
Yeah.
It's not I'm trying to say this nicely. I should just stop.
You can't.
Everybody knows what I'm trying to say.
You can stop.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Ooh. Donald Trump surrendered to authorities in Georgia last week and had his mugshot taken by the Fulton County Sheriff. He wasted no time, though, in turning that photo into a massive moneymaker. You name it, the Trump campaign slapped his mugshot on it, a $35 mugshot T-shirt, a Never Surrender coffee mugshot on a mug for $25, beverage coolers for $15 a pair, and much, much more. But various legal experts are now noting that Trump's sale of that mugshot that was taken by the Fulton County Sheriff may violate U.S. copyright laws.
No, it's not. There's no copyright. Whose article? It's a public domain.
That's what they said. They said it was public domain for only federal mugshots, but that local mugshots or state-level mugshots are under different rules, although nobody really has any idea what those rules are.
What's this report from?
This is Dean Obadiah, if you know that name, from CNN.
Okay.
This guy.
Start with the CNN.
This guy, but if you know the name, this guy is walking Trump derangement syndrome.
So he's maybe just projecting, hoping that
he's looking for something.
Well, something that maybe would make Donald Trump a criminal.
Yeah, yeah. This would
at the end of the
we got him.
Could you imagine that at the end of the day he violated copyright law?
And that's what they get him on? All the other things, not guilty. But you violated copyright law with your mugshot shirts.
Remove you from the ballot using the 14th Amendment.
Amazing. It says, as a general principle, the owner of a photo's copyright is the person or entity who takes that photo, not its subject. In federal criminal cases, the U.S. government is not permitted to own the copyright, so they are considered in the public domain. However, that is generally not the case with mugshots taken in state and local criminal proceedings. So if they can get him on it, I can almost guarantee you that they will go after him on it. How about this one? California has a bill now working its way through the legislature that is banning forced confrontations between workers and shoplifters. Small business owners from across California came recently to Sacramento to protest Senate Bill 553. The bill, introduced by State Senator Dave Cortese, aims to prevent workplace violence by prohibiting employers from forcing their staff to confront active shoplifters. But
I'm surprised that that's even a thing, because for a very long time, for over a decade, major businesses and corporations that are retail have instructed their employees, you have to just let them go.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it. You call the police.
Yeah, I'm amazed that anywhere in the United States, let alone California, has rules that employers tell their employees to do anything about this because of liability and everything we know about. These small business owners are concerned as they protest this that passage of this bill would increase shoplifting because they say that this bill is in protection. They say that the bill is in protection of employees, but it only protects the shoplifters, say gas station owners and people who are protesting about it. It's just amazing to me. I wanted to bring it up just simply because in California, what do you think of as being the problem? That employees are being forced to stop shoplifters?
They're not,
that's,
though. I mean, that's not
exactly.
happening. I mean, I can only imagine in maybe smaller stores where it's not corporately owned or whatever, but it has long been a standing procedure that you're not supposed to confront anybody.
Yeah.
Do you think this is like in response or retaliation to the videos that are coming out of those shop owners hitting people with mop handles and stuff as they're trying to steal?
I can't think of any other reason.
I wouldn't even be doing it because they're stealing. I would just be mad.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
This business owner says every day or every other day, people are coming openly and taking stuff and walking out of my store. Police come either 10 hours later or the next day and they say, file an online report. That's it. And yet the legislature, instead of dealing with shoplifting, they're dealing with how to better handle shoplifting with the rules to the businesses
We
themselves.
did that story a really long time ago, and it was talking about how, didn't they want to put something like kiosks in New York City in places where it's like, it was to curb shoplifting, and you're supposed to have a kiosk in your store that would, I'm pulling this out of a long time ago, we covered this, but the kiosk was supposed to like connect you to public services that you might need.
Yeah.
Some assistance that you might need. You're like, oh, I really need to steal this shampoo, this conditioner, these diapers, and this bottle of gin. And, oh, look at that kiosk. What is this?
Yeah.
Public assistance? Will this cover everything that I'm holding? I think I'll put this stuff back in aisle A7.
Wonder how that worked out for New York. I think it probably solved the problem. Because I think that they don't have any more of those problems as far as I've heard.
It's not a problem if you don't punish it.
Yeah, exactly. The United States Mint released 2 new Liberty coins at the beginning of this month, but one iconic phrase often depicted on U.S. currency has been replaced on one of these 2 new coins. The phrase is...
In God we trust?
In God we trust. That has been removed from these new coins. There's a gold one and a silver one. The gold one has In God We Trust on it still, but the silver one says, in place of In God We Trust, we shall preserve. Which I thought maybe that's a mistype. It's supposed to say persevere. No.
Is that on the Biden coin?
We shall preserve.
Nevertheless, she persisted.
Yes. So, not that we need to...
Who minted that?
This is the United States Mint.
But what is the coin?
It is 2 what they call Liberty coins. My guess is that these are special edition coins that they put out. But In God We Trust is on every coin.
Yeah.
This is the first time that they're taking it off of a U.S. Mint coin since, I think, as far as this article could find, the Civil War. That's when they started putting In God We Trust on.
Honestly, more
coins.
surprising that this hasn't happened sooner.
It is.
Sadly.
Yeah. And this isn't a common coin, so it's not going to be the ones that are in your pocket all the time, but it is a little bit indicative.
Unless you're a baller.
Yeah, these are $100 coins. Carrying around real silver? I want to meet you at KFC tomorrow at noon.
They can't stop me.
Last one. The wait is over. The Rolling Stones will soon release new music. On Monday, the band announced that they're preparing to release their first album of original material in 18 years. And the album will be called Hackney Diamonds.
Who is this?
This is
the Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones.
Wow.
You're excited about it, aren't you?
Yeah. Isn't he almost 80? Is that Mick Jagger? Am I right?
Mick Jagger.
Am I right?
Yeah, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood. This is the first album they've had since their drummer died. So that's, I guess,
He
Charlie
is
Watts.
80. He's 80.
80 years
He's
old.
80 years old.
I got to tell you, I'm not a big Rolling Stones fan, but the more time goes by, the more I just respect them for existing this long. That is
Is
really
there no
hard.
thought that he has in his mind was like, I would like to sit down. Like, I just don't understand how you get to 80 and you're
doing
still
the duck
going.
walk.
Still going. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Jim Carafano is going to be with us. Don't go away.
Okay, so you filed your taxes this year, but you know you have past IRS issues. And now the IRS letters are coming. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. Don't ignore those IRS letters. They're important and give you rights and deadlines to defend yourself. Waiting could cause you to lose those rights. Call the Lance Story Law Firm now and let us help you get ahead of the IRS and defend your rights while you still have time. The Lance Story Law Firm is located here in St. Louis, so take the first step and hire a tax resolution attorney. We've made it super easy to schedule your free consultation in person, or you can do a phone call and save travel time. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm. Call today at 314-238-7360. That's 314-238-7360. Or go visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Man, blink and it's gone. It's September already, and we're looking toward the end of the year, at least on the Andy Frey Show. We are saying, well, Christmas is just around the corner. But really, when you talk about making appointments and using your benefits for the year, this is the time when you start to look at those things like dental appointments and say, oh, I need to get that on the books. Fountains Family Dentistry makes it very, very easy for you to do that. They have hours, I always say they're open early some days, late some days for your convenience. But just so you know, Monday and Thursday, they open at 8 a.m. So if you want to go in before work, you could do that. Tuesday and Wednesday, they're open late until 7 p.m. So that is just for your schedule. You can give them a call right now at 618-622-1800 and get your cleaning on the books, or maybe you've been putting off something a little bit more severe. They can do that right there in the office, so give them a call. They're in Fairview Heights, Illinois, easy to get to from either side of the river. FountainsFamilyDentistry.com is the website, and while you're there, even on your phone right now, you can make an appointment. Just go to their website or give them a call. It's all at FountainsFamilyDentistry.com.
Hi. This is Brian with Velocity Home Buyers, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 314-782-3333. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition and any price range in the St. Louis area. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that needs updating, but you don't have the time or money for it? Great, because I love buying outdated houses. I buy vacant houses, job relocation houses, and foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 314-782-3333. That's 314-782-3333.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A major airline halts flights. Lisa Brady, Fox News. United Airlines requesting a ground stop from the FAA for all of its flights, citing a system-wide technology issue. Now, that ground stop was temporary, scheduled to end at this hour, and they have just lifted it. A ground stop holds departing flights. This comes as Labor Day travel wraps up after the busiest ever summer season for air travel in the U.S. President Biden tests negative for COVID last night and again today after the First Lady tested positive.
Since the president was with the First Lady yesterday, he will be masking while indoors and around people in alignment with CDC guidance.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says he will remove the mask when he has enough distance from others. The president is scheduled to leave Thursday for the G20 summit in India. Meantime, the White House urging North Korea to stick by its public commitments not to provide weapons to Russia for killing Ukrainians. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says sanctions have put the squeeze on Russia.
And they are now going about looking to whatever source they can find for things like artillery ammunition.
also warning that North Korea would pay a price in the international community. National Guard members are mobilizing in Massachusetts to help with a surge of migrants beginning early next week.
They'll be providing all sorts of services at these emergency shelter hotels that are set up across the state. Members will work on site. They'll be coordinating everything from transportation to food to other services like medical care, delivered all by a web of vendors, community organizations, state and local governments coming together, including to enroll children in schools.
Fox's Molly Line in Boston. The state's Democratic Governor Maura Healey activating up to 250 National Guard members after declaring a state of emergency over a rapidly rising number of migrants arriving in the state, overwhelming the shelter system. She's appealed to the federal government for help. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day, medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Still have that summer humid feel today and tomorrow. Partly sunny skies this afternoon, a couple of spot storms. 92 will do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm and humid. Increasing winds tonight. Chance of a couple of spot storms. Very limited, 75. Wednesday, partly sunny, couple of spot storms. Windy, still humid, near 90 degrees. Cooler and drier air comes in on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The seasons might begin to be changing here, and Air Comfort Service is there to make sure your comfort zone shifts from trying to stay out of that crazy heat to making sure that you're warm in your house when it gets crazy cold. Air Comfort Service is reachable at 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. One of the issues that could be affecting both the way you heat and cool your home is the insulation that you have in your attic, or maybe it's the insulation you don't have in your attic. Make sure that your home is properly insulated by calling Air Comfort Service and having them come and check it. 9 out of 10 homes are under insulated. If your HVAC system is constantly running, if your utility bills are high, and Lord knows they're all high right now, anything you can do to bring them back down, insulation with Air Comfort Service is a great way to address these issues. Give them a call. Mention the Annie Frey Show when you do. 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. You can find them online right now at aircomfortservice.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money, Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
This week, 97.1 FM Talk is bringing you football. The Kansas City Chiefs are on 97.1 FM Talk. This Thursday, game time is 7:20. Coverage starts at 6. Everyone is welcome.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
Over 90,000 satisfied customers since 1929. Frederick Roofing, 314-645-2000.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start.
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Tune into the Del Walmsley Radio Show. Del, self-made millionaire and founder of Lifestyles Unlimited, will show you how to live the life of your dreams and pay for it with passive income.
Listen to the Del Walmsley Radio Show this Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 p.m. on 97.1 FM Talk.
This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long. Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Grateful to be with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Hope you had an enjoyable, long, relaxing Labor Day weekend. My family certainly did. We had to do a lot of things around the house and work on stuff within our home, but very little plans, and it was very enjoyable. I've been watching this story kind of unfold about these Chinese nationals, people in our country from China, and the places they keep popping up. It's very interesting. New York Post put out an article on this yesterday. The headline is Chinese nationals have snuck onto sensitive U.S. sites at least 100 times, sparking spying fears. Sparking fears, I think, is probably the key issue here. From the New York Post article, other instances of Chinese nationals entering highly sensitive areas includes apparent incursions at the White House and former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. Officials said Chinese nationals posing as tourists left the designated tour area of the White House to take pictures of the grounds, including communications gear and the positions of Secret Service personnel, before being shooed away. In 2019, a Chinese woman was sentenced to 8 months in prison after being convicted of unlawfully entering Mar-a-Lago. She had 2 passports on her at the time, 4 cell phones, and other electronic devices. What is going on here? Let's speak to our friend Jim Carafano, who joins us now, senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. Jim, welcome back to the show. I was hoping
that's a long title.
It is. It's a mouthful, and every consecutive word is more impressive than the one before.
Every time I get a new title here, my title gets longer.
You a little bit longer. Crazy. Yeah, the longevity is fantastic. What do you make of these Chinese nationals that are popping up in very precarious places on our land here in the United States?
Well, you remember, go back to the Chinese balloon that overflew the United States. I guess it was last year, right? China has a full court intelligence collection plan against the United States that is every bit as aggressive and as comprehensive as the Russians did during the Cold War. And not to put too fine a point on it or scare anybody, but the Russian data collection effort was designed not just to find weaknesses and gaps in the United States to exploit, but potentially to fight World War III. So think about that. China has an intelligence, spying, espionage collection plan on the scale of Russia to take down America one way or the other. That's just the reality of what they're doing. The balloon was designed to collect strategic data about our nuclear infrastructure in the United States, the command and control, missile sites, airfields for SAC, et cetera. What we're seeing here is trying to understand how to get access to places all over the country, not just to collect ongoing intelligence, but to also identify vulnerabilities in terms of infrastructure and everything else to disrupt this country one way or another. So, when we did this huge report at Heritage, it's on our website, heritage.org, and called, The New Cold War, we weren't kidding. This is a threat on the scale of the Cold War. And I know people are reading articles every day that says, oh, China's economy is in trouble here. Big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but does that make them less dangerous? And the answer is no, right? Because they have ups and downs in their economy. It's not like, oh, well, we can forget about China because, some big real estate company is going to go in default. This is a regime which is tightly controlled and purposely organized to dominate the world. And just like the North Koreans can squeeze out anything out of the world's worst economy enough to be really a real nuclear power, and the Russians, despite their pathetic economy, can squeeze out enough power to invade another country, the Chinese can figure out how to put enough power together to try to take on the United States of America and to envision a long-term vision of a world without America.
Jim Carafano with us right now. And I when you talk about the analogy with the Cold War with Russia, the Cold War ended in 1991. So I would have been about 7 years old at the time. And I think that and I'm almost 40. So I think there's a lot of people out here that we've heard it in our history lessons. We've learned it in school. We hear it from people who we know who are very, very, very much smarter than we are on these issues like you, Jim. But when you want the people who are my age, I'm, raising 4 kids, living my life, paying a mortgage, trying to get through, to understand those correlations to the Cold War, what have we learned from having done this once already that needs to be implemented either in what we do right now or how we vote, what we vote for, not necessarily who, come next November 2024?
Yeah, well, that's a really profound question, because in the end of the day, our ability to hold off our enemies is exactly the same as it was during the Cold War. And we talk about an America that is free, that is safe, and that is prosperous. And you need all three of those things. You cannot have a strong military and a strong foreign policy without a strong economy. You cannot have a vibrant and resilient society without protecting fundamental freedoms. So all these things are connected together. So when somebody says you need to take on China, just like in 1950 when Eisenhower was elected and they say you need to take on the Russians, he was confronted the same thing. We have to protect basic American freedoms. Remember the whole thing about McCarthyism, and we're all demonizing and Eisenhower's like, look, we've got to protect Americans' liberty, and we got to find Russian spies, and we got to be able to do the same at the same time and not affect Americans' basic liberties. We need an economy that can roar, and we need a military that can defend ourselves. So what I would say is all these issues are connected. So when people ask you about the border being unsecure and an economy that's flatlining because of government policies and inflation that's eating into your paycheck, and a woke ideology that is corrupting the fundamental institutions like education, everything else, all those things are part of the China fight. And so literally every issue that everyday Americans care about, winning on those issues is part of the China fight.
Jim Carafano with us with the Heritage Foundation right now. You mentioned the border, and I'm glad you did, because I think we're listing off our enemies here. We're talking about how China wants American demise, not American prosperity for sure. Now, for the sake of conversation and the border issue, let's say that the vast, vast, vast majority of people coming across the southern border are people who want a better life, and they've been told you can have it in the United States. They want the American dream, which is funny because a lot of the people in charge of the American dream are trying to destroy it. But I digress. When you see a country like China who wants to invest in our demise, how easy is it for the Chinese right now to mix themselves among the people who are coming across the southern border and get into this country to start visiting places like what we're seeing from the New York Post? How simple have we made it for them? Well,
let me list 5 ways in which Biden's open border policy essentially plays into China's hands. We should start with the obvious one, which is we are importing millions of illegal aliens We're spending billions of dollars on this, paying for the world's largest human trafficking network. None of this is adding and growing our economy. So this is a drain on our economy. Look at places like New York, which are being crushed under illegal immigrants. So it's bad for the economy. China likes that. We are importing criminal activity at an unprecedented rate, and you just need to look at the statistics on opioid deaths to see that. And in fact, the Chinese are tremendous supporters of the opioid crisis because they give the precursors to make these opioids to the cartels. So they love that because that undermines America. Then there's a terrorism issue. I mean, any day of the week, the Chinese could just go to some terrorist group, just like the Russians did during the Cold War, and say, here's $1 million. Go to America, kill a bunch of Americans. Walk across the southern border is the safest way in the country. That's a problem. Weapons of mass migration. The Chinese could just go to some country and say, look, here's a couple $100 million. Go send a couple 100,000 people across the southern border, and maybe do it while we're invading Taiwan. So the Americans are really distracted. And then, of course, the fifth way is we've created a pathway for espionage in the United States. Literally, if you are an illegal immigrant, you show up at the border, and the U.S. government will get you transported, and they will pay NGOs. They'll pay these groups to basically take you to wherever you want to go in the country, and you're essentially a stateless person. I mean, you're a clean. You do whatever you. So you're a perfect tool for espionage. So it's. Matter of fact, you heard this thing, right? It almost is like it must be a parody where the U.S. government actually was taking a case against SpaceX for not essentially hiring illegal aliens, right? And SpaceX says, look, under law to prevent espionage, we can only hire U.S. citizens. What the heck are you talking about? And you want us essentially to hire people who don't have clearances, are essentially going to be, because when their refugee thing runs out, because it will, because none of these claims are valid, you're essentially asking us to employ an illegal alien who will do anything to stay here, even if they're not a Chinese agent. Because they're vulnerable in this country, the Chinese are going to say, oh, look, here's an illegal alien working against SpaceX who's going to get thrown out of the country. We should squeeze them. I mean, come on.
Yeah. It can't be inept. It has to be on purpose, because we can't purposely be being this dumb, right?
No, you can purposely being this careless and reckless, because you're not thinking about the other things. Because it's this deal. When you really fundamentally, at the end of the day, don't care about everyday Americans and what happens at their kitchen table and what's in their bank account and what's in their classroom, when you really don't care about that, then this is just collateral damage. You and I are collateral damage to this government. It's just a fact. This is why, we talked about those protest songs like, Richmond, Northern, why these things resonate with people. Because people look at their government was purposefully driving policies and destroying their lives and realizing that we are all just collateral damage for them. I don't know if you heard this story that just broke about the Department of Defense basically says for awards, you can't use pronouns. So you can't identify people as he or she, right? So think about this. If you are a woman combat pilot and you go out and win the Medal of Honor, when they write up your award, they cannot call you a woman.
It's unbelievable.
So these are historical records that will destroy people's identities. Does that advance equality? No, of course not. What does it do? It's some woke government official that wants to advance this radical agenda, which actually doesn't care about everyday people. Do you think Audie Murphy, look, okay, Audie, what kind of name is that? Is it a guy or is it a girl? We don't know. That he would just be some anonymous face to the American people? You think he would care about that? Do you think people want their identity destroyed by the U.S. government?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
So when you say they can't be doing this on purpose, I think they can be doing this on purpose, because what you see as damage, they see as noise.
Oh. Jim, last question for you. Give you an opportunity to maybe end this on a high note. This administration or a different administration, whomever it might be, gets in after November 2024 of next year. How quickly does a country like China change their perspective and their action and their direction if the policy in Washington, D.C. from the top down dramatically changes with a new administration?
Well, I thank you for that, because I think that's the important thing. Chinese pay attention to what we do, not what we say. It's true for the Russians. It's true for the Iranians. It's true for the North Koreans. These regimes could care less what our rhetoric is. They pay attention to what we do. So, for example, North Korea is the most sanctioned country in the world, except we don't actually enforce the sanctions. So the North Koreans think it's a joke, and they go and do business with the Russians, right? So if an administration comes in, it will matter not what they say, whether it's one party or the other. They're going to wait and see what we do. And look, as a guy that was in the military for 25 years and spent my whole life in strategic competition, and anybody, you always want the other guy to be reacting to you as opposed to the other way around. You don't want to be playing defense all the time.
Yeah. A dramatic change is in order, that's for sure. Jim Carafano, we appreciate you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we'll do it again. He is the senior counselor to the president and E.W. Richardson Fellow for International Engagement at the Heritage Foundation. He goes places, he sees things, he knows things. He's with us every Tuesday. And when he was with us the last time in town, he does not do much radio anymore at all. You guys are special to him, and that's a wonderful opportunity to have these conversations with somebody who is so well-versed in all of this. We're going to take a quick break. Chad Pergram is going to be with us when we come back. A super quick break. Don't go away. Ruler Foods is the place to go to save money on your grocery bill and to get the products that you want, the ones that you rely on. You've gotten them at other stores. Those name brands are also there at Ruler Foods right now. Go check them out at rulerfoods.com. What can you save on at least through today? They still have those Labor Day weekend sales available for you. Boneless pork chops, fresh hamburger patties, $10. That's $1 a patty or chop. Seedless watermelons or big pack, 18-ounce blueberries, $3.67 each. You can get those Lay's potato chips for a great price, for $9 when you buy 4 or more. And Kroger Big K 12 packs on sale as well, $3 when you buy 4 or more. Saving is made simple when you shop at Ruler Foods. You can go online, put in your zip code, and find the Ruler Foods closest to you. A reminder, you can now be leaving diapers at your closest Ruler Foods, as we are working very hard to get diapers for the St. Louis Diaper Bank to support Princess Storm's diaper drive. Very glad to be a part of it this year. Hope the Annie Frey Show audience shows up in great effect. You can learn more online at rulerfoods.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Save up to 20% on a new HVAC system when you bundle it with attic insulation. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
But I'm here 'cause your body my motivation.
If there's a shutdown, it's going to be because Joe Biden and the Democrats and Schumer decide they want to continue a radical agenda that's at odds with the American people. We're just simply saying, look, we've got a plan. We'll fund government to do its job, but we're not going to fund a government to not do its job, to endanger the American people. And if they don't want to go down the road of doing their job, the responsibility I have in Congress, as do my colleagues, is to use that power of the purse. James Madison wrote about it in Federalist 58 and numerous other documents. It is the most effective weapon against a tyrannical executive branch. That is what this administration is.
Congressman Chip Roy there speaking about the possible pending government shutdown. This always becomes a really big story really fast, and then they figure something out, and then it just goes away. But we need to know what the details are. That's why we go to Chad Pergram. He's a senior congressional correspondent for Fox News, and he joins us now. Chad, welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Good to have you here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
What can you tell us about what you're expecting in the days to come regarding this possible pending government shutdown?
Well, they have to fund the government by the 30th of September. That's the end of the government's fiscal year, and that's why this always happens this time of year. And here's what has happened. You have divided government. You have a Republican House and a Senate that's controlled by the Democrats, and you have to get the same bill through both bodies of Congress. Now, here's the problem. The House has only passed one of the 12 individual spending bills, which run the government, the Senate 0. And so what the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer from New York, said before the recess, they're just coming back today, the Senate this week, the House not till next week still, so they're running out of track here pretty fast, they're going to move a number of individual spending bills in the Senate. Kevin McCarthy knows they can't get this all done, the Speaker of the House. So he has proposed a stopgap bill, called a continuing resolution, or CR in the parlance of Capitol Hill. It simply renews all the old funding for a temporary period of time, a month, a couple months, a week, depending on what you decide to do. That renews the old funding. Now, you heard Chip Roy, who you played the soundbite from just a couple of minutes ago. People like Chip Roy in the House, these conservative Republicans, members of the Freedom Caucus, are going to balk at that because they're like, we didn't like that money in the first place. Yeah. Why would we vote to re-up that money even on a temporary basis? And so what McCarthy is trying to do right now is convince members of his conference that they might be able to get some of these cuts, but they have to hold on. They have to wait. The problem, Annie, before the recess at the end of July, the House had this ambitious plan of passing 2 appropriations bills. They only passed one. There was another one they couldn't pass because they didn't have the votes on their side of the aisle. And the way that you avoid a government shutdown, guess what, is with a combination of some Democrats and some Republicans. And Kevin McCarthy has already been taking it on the chin from conservatives because of the debt ceiling deal back in the spring, and they passed that bill with more Democratic votes than Republican votes, and that's why GOP members are watching this closely to see what he does. And if he goes down that road again, expect trouble.
We're speaking with senior congressional correspondent for Fox News, Chad Pergram, right now. I would imagine that it now being post-Labor Day with a November 2024 election in clear sight right now, that a lot of what happens in this particular instance will have a great political ramification on how people want to modify their vote for Congress come November 2024. And as you always say, it's about the math. The numbers, it's a razor thin majority.
And it's even a more razor-thin majority because Steve Scalise, the majority leader, announced that he had cancer last week, and so he's going to be out for an unspecified period of time with cancer, receiving treatment. We don't think that this is catastrophic for Steve Scalise, at least what I've been told and reported, so we expect him back at some point. Here's the thing to watch, though. Chris Stewart is a Republican from Utah. He is resigning on the 15th of September. His wife is ill, and so there's going to be an absence. There's going to be an unfilled seat there. So that's 2 Republicans right there off the board. Not to mention every Tom, Dick, or Harry who is absent just on any given day because they, kids, the flu, sure. COVID now again. It could be anything. And so that's a problem. It will be about the math.
So I want to shift over to the Senate, and I know that there is some news that came out today. We're speaking with Chad Pergram right now about Mitch McConnell and that frightening episode that took place while he was in district last week. I would imagine that his ability to lead through this type of tumultuous time, you need somebody on leading the party who's going to be stern and who's going to have purpose and direction that everybody can rally behind. What's the situation with Senator Mitch McConnell?
Well, we're going to know a little bit more here in the next hour or so. Sometime after 3 o'clock Eastern time, the Senate will come into session for the first time in 6 weeks. And McConnell, we are told, is going to speak on the floor. It's been intimated to me that he would not address his health questions. He would talk policy. We did get a letter from the Office of the Attending Physician this morning that was sent to McConnell, that then was sent to some of us in the press corps, where the Capitol doctor that oversees the health of both House and Senate members had reviewed various reports from McConnell's other doctors and neurologists, plural neurologists, and determined that he did not have Parkinson's and did not suffer from a stroke. So what they did is they ruled things out, but they did not rule things in. The problem is that we don't know, is this going to happen again? Could it happen to McConnell on the floor? Could it happen during a speech or a press conference? There have been 2.5 episodes like this over the past, 3 or 4 months. He had a pretty bad fall at a Washington hotel over the winter. and missed several months. He had a concussion, a collapsed lung. And so, coming back here, Mitch McConnell has, he seemed a little bit slower. His speeches have been a little bit shorter. And then we've had these episodes, two now, one here during a Capitol press conference, the other one in northern Kentucky last week, where he just froze. And if that continues to happen with a degree of regularity, you can imagine that there will be calls for him to step aside, especially if he does not address the health concerns. It's one thing to hear from the Capitol physician, but again, we're not knowing what it is, and maybe they don't know what it is. Perhaps that's why they released the statement the way they did.
Yeah, it's something I think a lot of folks are paying attention to. We're speaking right now with senior congressional correspondent for Fox News, Chad Pergram. I find it a little interesting that we don't hear a lot of the politicians themselves talking about the Mitch. At least I haven't. At least hasn't gotten to us here in St. Louis.
There's a reason for that.
Well, you add in Feinstein. You add in the president of the United States.
There's a reason for that.
Talk to us about it.
Well, first of all, from the Republican perspective, as you know, they are more than happy to hammer President Biden over his age and questions about his fitness for office. They run into a problem if they are hammering the president and not doing the same on Mitch McConnell, and that's what we're seeing so far. But here's the reason why members from both sides of the aisle generally give people a pass up here when it comes to their health, because there they all go but for the grace of God, and they don't want to be that person to have people, yipping and sniping at their heels if they have a health issue. And again, this is why this is hard, because you could have somebody who has a serious health issue and is out for months, and then they return and they're able to serve. The Constitution is pretty clear. It doesn't say you have to be healthy to serve in the Senate or the House. You have to be 30 or 35, depending on the Senate or the House. You have to be a resident of the state that you're representing, and you have to be a U.S. citizen. It doesn't say that you have to have a cognitive test, which is something that Nikki Haley, who's running for president, has called for. That would be unconstitutional, frankly. And you have some people, as you know, who are older, who are more with it than people who are much younger. And sometimes you want people with experience. But it becomes a perception issue, and it's something that's going to be a problem for the Republican Party if they continue to hammer the president, but don't see the problem on their own side of the aisle, potentially, and I'll underscore that, potentially, with Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes of that speech today from the floor. The removal of somebody like a Senator McConnell, Senator Feinstein, if the collective body understands that something needs to be done, is there a process for senators, for congressmen, like there is the 25th Amendment for the president?
It's called expulsion, and it's not going to happen, and here's why. It takes a 2/3 vote to expel someone. We've expelled people for ethics in the Senate, and they haven't really expelled that many people. Most of the people were expelled for some ethics issues or some, associated with the Confederacy during the Civil War. So they're not going to expel somebody over health. And for the same reasons I just stated, that they are all afraid to go there because they're afraid that someday if they open that Pandora's box, they're the one who's going to be facing this question. Take a look back earlier this year with Senator John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania. Here's somebody who had had a stroke before coming to office, then was away just a few weeks after taking the oath of office because he was suffering from depression, was hospitalized for that. He has trouble to this day with audio processing, and there have been some people and some doctors say, well, how is this any different than somebody who can't walk or somebody who has another physical disability? He can process things in his mind. He has to have a screen, if you're talking to him to get that, but he can function as a senator. And again, that is that gray area about what is fitness for office. Not everybody who walks in here is going to be an Olympic athlete, and in fact, most aren't.
Yeah, it's so fascinating to watch from a government function, because the razor thin margins in both the Senate and the House are you can't lose anybody on your side, and then you watch and see what the parties prioritize. The last question I have for you, we've talked about the government shutdown and how close those margins are, but then also the discussion about a potential impeachment inquiry. What are your thoughts and what's your experience so far on how likely it is we will see an impeachment inquiry going ahead full steam?
Well, again, these things are kind of tied together with funding the government. This is where you have an arch conservative like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the Republican from Georgia, who has said, I won't vote to fund the government unless we have voted to start an impeachment inquiry. Well, again, if you have, two persons off the board already who would probably be votes to start an impeachment inquiry, Steve Scalise, the majority leader, and maybe Chris Stewart, that's a problem because you don't have the votes. And keep in mind that Republicans in 2019, when Democrats were in a similar position around the same time of the year in 2019, they were yelling and really blasting the Democrats for not voting to start an impeachment inquiry on President Trump, if that's what they were going to talk about all day and have hearings about all day. Finally, the Democrats did that in late October of 2019. And again, what this does is it formalizes the process of impeachment. It gives the House a little more leeway to conduct investigations and depositions and so on. And McCarthy has said repeatedly, and this is where he could find himself in a contradictory position, he beat down an impeachment resolution by Lauren Boebert, the Republican from Colorado, in June. He says, if we're going to do impeachment, we're going to do it by the book. Well, guess what? Doing it by the book is having a vote to start an impeachment inquiry and then going wherever things follow from there. If you're having an impeachment investigation and the Speaker said we're only going to do it by the book and then they don't do it by the book, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, Chad Pergram joining us now. We appreciate your time. There's a lot to talk about, and we're grateful you worked us into your schedule today. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. He is the senior congressional correspondent at Fox News and here on the Annie Frey Show this afternoon. So much stuff mounting up here. Brad, when people talk about Labor Day being the end of the summer,
yeah,
like I've in my life, you said you were at our house yesterday trying to help with our car, and you did. And you were like, oh, I forgot how busy you guys are. Once school starts again, it's like, oh my gosh.
We were talking about sports and stuff.
There are no impeachment inquiries going on in my household that I know of. I don't know. Maybe they're impeaching me. But when you look at the government, the function of government, what they need to accomplish on behalf of the American people, it really, really starts today. And it's going to get hairy, some might say.
Yeah.
We're going to cover it every step of the way. Grateful that Chad Pergram was willing to join us to discuss it. Let's take a quick break here. I haven't mentioned this poll yet, but we're going to discuss it a little bit when we come back. Ryan Wiggins will join us in studio once again. Which is a bigger turnoff for you? Constant toxic negativity or persistent, naive positivity? Which is worse for you? We'll go around the room. I think I already know how this is all going to go, which is probably toxically negative for me to say.
I kind of feel attacked by this poll.
Do you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, why? You're not toxically negative.
Nope.
We'll be right back.
Here right now, this is
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Centric Security and Automation has powerful end-to-end security solutions for you. They have comprehensive video security and access control that provides you, the business owner, the property owner, with intelligent, flexible, cloud-native, and on-premise solutions. You can put your building, your people, your intellectual property in the hands of Centric Security and Automation, and you can feel confident that you're going to have the things in place when the time comes. And unfortunately, for many people, the time will come where you need to be able to show video to prove something, to be able to fortify your business so that it is safe, so that you can automate your business, so that people can come in and out with the access control that they need, maybe with a fob, even as simple with your mobile phone. All of this comes from Centric Security and Automation. And as I've said before, they are right here in the Metro East, but they are nationally recognized and utilized for their top tier services and the service that they provide along with the products to keep you safe and secure. Find them at 314-442-6860, 314-442-6860, online at centricstl.com.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You wouldn't trust a butcher to babysit your pet pig. You wouldn't trust a lumberjack to repair your antiques. Or a professional wrestler to be your massage therapist. So why would you trust anyone but AMCO to fix your car? For over 50 years, we've been the trusted experts in transmission repair.
AMCO offers easy payment plan options for most any credit situation, so you can fix it fast and pay it off slow. At AMCO.
AAMCO.
It looks like wood, it feels like wood, but it's maintenance-free. It's luxurious James Hardie siding. And during Banner Construction's 30th anniversary event, you get same-as-cash financing on Hardie products and Pella windows. Let Banner Construction transform your home into the envy of the neighborhood. Call now and have Banner's design team give you some great options and a free quote. 314-569-1050. Online, bannerconstruction.com. That's 569-1050. And have a banner day.
You had a solid retirement dream. Sell your home in a few years, bank the equity, downsize, and travel. But inflation and recession has you wondering if all your hard-earned equity will still be there. What if you could recession-proof your equity right now? You can with TrueHold. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value before a recession can erode it. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. And TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Don't wait for inflation, recession, and interest rates to erode your home's value. Visit TrueHold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today, based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit TrueHold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without having to move. That's TrueHold.com.
It's obvious. We're being let down by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media are distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the real concerns of American families. Countries we're at odds with are hoarding food, financial systems are strained, and supply chains remain too fragile. We can tell something is coming, so we're preparing. Folks are getting into self-reliance and investing in emergency food storage. And My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, makes it easy for you to have peace of mind knowing you're prepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure some emergency food kits. There's a dozen to choose from that contain tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. And while you're there, stock up on water filtration, heirloom seeds, and emergency gear, too, at MyPatriotSupply.com. It's time to prepare today. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
If you want to lose weight, I've got a great idea for you. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory Men's Health. They're now offering FDA-approved semaglutide. They have tremendous results with this medication. The average patient loses 15% of their body weight. Men and women can get semaglutide from Victory Men's Health at any of their 3 locations. Be sure and book your appointment today online at victorymenshealth.com.
This is the Annie Frey Show, and today's Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll is, which is a bigger turnoff for you? Consistent toxic negativity or persistent naive positivity? We're going to talk about that in just a second. Stick around. It's 1:44. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Critical thinking in critical times. This is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. Everyone is welcome. This is the Annie Frey Show.
Stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
This is our senior class song. Did you guys have class songs? Did you have class this, that, and the other thing?
Yeah, we did. The class before me was 1979 by Smashing Pumpkins, because
Yeah.
that was the year they were born.
Oh.
Well, some of
I
them
thought that was the year you graduated.
No, I did not graduate in the 70s. I was born in the 80s, so you're a little off. I don't remember what ours was. I think it was Can I Graduate by Third Eye Blind,
Is that a
which was
song?
just a song that goes, Can I graduate? And gets no play today because it's just a song that was created for that moment.
Because it was a bad song.
It was terrible.
What about you?
I don't know. I didn't even go to my own graduation in high school.
High school graduation?
Yeah.
How many people did you graduate with?
Oh, geez, what would it have been? I think Freeburg had like a total class of like 300.
How many did you graduate with, Ryan?
My class?
At Collinsville.
450.
Yeah, I don't even think my whole school was that big.
I graduated with 47.
It was more than that, though.
But we had 48 people in the class.
Oh.
Wait a minute. So one didn't graduate.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about that
How
one?
many people? No. He is successful now. And
Okay.
I don't think high school was for him, which is fine. Brad, did a lot of people not walk?
No, I think there was maybe me and like two other people.
What a rebel.
No kidding.
How
That's not like you.
That's super toxically negative.
Yeah, it is. Why did you not do it? Because you just want to be a part of the system? You want to bring down the man?
Yeah, it was actually that. I just wanted to bring down
oh
the man.
my gosh, I can't believe it.
Were your parents upset?
No.
They were
No, if I'm
against
honest,
the man too?
high school for me was it was the worst experience of my entire life.
You've talked about it.
And
being
so
rough.
I just didn't want any part of it. You know, the people there, it felt like the people that were there didn't like me. And if I'm not wanted there, you know, why even show up? So I just didn't go.
Was the man brought down?
I don't know.
He's
You didn't even care anymore.
It's not about that. It's about how successful Brad is. Would you consider Brad a success, Ryan?
I would say more recently he's dressing for success. Yeah, he comes in wearing, you know, to the nines.
To the nines.
And then with a briefcase. And
The
I say,
tuxedo
that
was
guy
a little
looks,
much.
I thought so too. But, you know, that's okay. You got to find your own balance. And I think Brad is finding that balance.
And it's interesting that you've decided to like even it out, and so to play the law of averages. So
Yeah.
while he's dressing super nice, then you show up.
Yeah, I'm
Ryan's-
wearing old Dare shirts.
I was going to say Ryan's dressing for Loyola Beach, Chicago.
Raise your hand if you have an old Dare shirt. I think I do.
Oh my gosh.
You know what really bothers me?
What?
Mom and Dad. The fact that all of the shirts that I wore in like 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, they're all still big and baggy on me. What were we doing?
I think back then they wouldn't buy sizes. I think they would
It's just
just get a size for
shirt.
everyone.
Do you know what I'm saying though?
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't fit you well.
No. I mean, I look at what my kids are wearing at that age. They're not going to be able to fit in that when they're grown people.
No.
And then I look back at my little, pitching machine softball uniform. It was below my knees.
Yeah, exactly.
I
They did not
wasn't-
buy sizes.
I wasn't a chubby kid, but I was never a skinny kid. But this shirt is on me like it got in the way. It was so
Yeah.
large, and I still wear it to bed.
The 3rd grade softball shirt?
I think I have a 5th grade softball T-shirt.
Man, that must have been huge.
There is precisely zero that I could wear from that.
What an a-hole thing to say!
I mean, it's 5th grade. You still
Rude.
have it, and it's
What?
still big on you? That's a tent.
Keep going.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I wonder. I have shirts now that I don't really fit into very well. It's because of my diet.
This is getting even better and better. Go on.
But I have shirts that are cool, like they're concert shirts and stuff. And I just recently bought a shirt that I thought I would fit into. I got it in the mail, and I won't fit into it. It's an old Fighting Illini 1950s college sweater. And I thought, this is going to be awesome. And I got it, and it doesn't fit me. Do you think my kids, especially
Don't
my
ask me
son,
questions now. I'm done here.
do you think he'll think they're cool by the time he gets that big? Or will they be dad's lame old shirts?
I don't know.
He just said that the shirt would have to be the size of a tent. That I wore in 5th grade to fit me now. That is what he said.
That I stand by that.
You guys got 6 minutes.
Ryan,
Get out of the park.
Ryan, there is no way I can save you if she decides to come after you.
Oh, I know.
It's just going to be a beat down, and I'm just going to turn the mic up so everybody can hear you scream.
I've learned, though, that when somebody comes after you and they come after you aggressively to beat you up like Annie does, there's a great defense against this. You just go, electronics. And then everybody backs up.
I don't think that's going to help you, bud. I think she's just going to crush you.
Should I keep saving these shirts? What about the quilt T-shirts? Has anybody ever done one of those things?
No.
The quilts made out of your old T-shirts. They always look cool, but I've never done one.
No, I don't know how to quilt. Sorry.
I just use my T-shirt as a quilt because it's that big.
What does it say on it? What does your 5th grade softball shirt say? You have to turn your mic on. No, I do not. Yes, you do.
That was so rude.
No. I mean, think about how big that shirt would have to be for a 5th grader, for any adult, even a small jockey adult, to fit into that shirt now. Have you ever met a jockey in real life?
Did you hear that? That's
you're about the size of one.
The sound of him backpedaling.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's too stubborn to do that.
I'm not going to do that. You know what? She calls me things on the radio all the time that aren't even true. She makes comments about my physical appearance. She just did it. And yet I'm going to be in trouble.
Yeah. You're not in trouble.
I think I am.
You just have 4 more minutes to fill.
Well, okay. Let me open up Real Clear Politics.
Ryan loves the poll.
I do love the polls. You mentioned Kilmeade talking about polls on the way in. That was actually pretty fun radio to listen to on the way in today. Kilmeade.
So, toxic negative people.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that.
That was the plan.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm feeling as though I'm going to...
Which one are you, Annie?
I don't think I'm toxically negative outwardly. I'm very, very not... I am not a positive thinking person, but I'm okay with it. I don't feel sad about it, but I don't think I'm toxically negative. I think I'm realistic.
But which is a bigger turnoff for you?
Right now? What are you?
Persistent, naive positivity.
It's that one, Ryan.
Interesting.
Is it the positivity or the naivety that really gets you though?
No, it's not. That's the naive is the key, is the emphasis there. When people are naive about things, when adults are naive about things that they should be able to I think this is about politics really is the question. Because when I talk to people in real life about politics and people approach me most places I go and they want to talk politics, the people on the right are generally so incredibly negative. Mm-hmm. And the people on the left are so incredibly positive about the way things are going because one of them's in charge and one of them's not. And I don't think either one is helpful. I think that if you were negative about something because you're informed about it, then there has to be a purpose to present that negativity to the world because you have to want it to change. And I think it becomes toxic when I talk to people who are so incredibly down on the way the world is today. They're incredibly negative about it. I always think to myself, what would have to happen to make this person leave that negativity behind? Like, what would it have to look like? And there's some people who will be rooted in their negativity and they are looking for real solutions. And maybe right now they don't feel like those solutions exist. But if those solutions existed, they would feel very comfortable in the new way of doing things. But there are other people who are so negative about things right now that the only way to medicate that negativity is to watch other people lose. Mm-hmm. It's not even about the policy that's in play. It's about the idea that in order for me to feel better, I don't need what I believe to be right to be put into play. I need more than that. I need the people on the other side to know how wrong they were and most importantly, how right I am. And I think that's when it becomes really toxic. Mm-hmm. And the persistent naive positivity, which is the alternative, to me is just an aloofness that people can have and hold, and they just don't pay attention to what's going on, but they just know that this is how they have always felt, and investing in some sort of criticism of something that they've always known to be their own threatens the idea that maybe they could not necessarily have to admit that they were wrong, but maybe they could open their focus a little bit.
Well, even at that, like I think that there is a certain aspect of you have to admit that you're wrong, and people are so vehemently opposed to that they will hang on to stuff that has been proven incorrect just so that they don't have to admit that they're wrong, or maybe not so much admit that they're wrong, but admit that they might have sided with the wrong side in a certain situation. You know, whenever politics in that case becomes about who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, well, if you pick a side, well, the good guys and bad guys never change. Well, politics isn't about good guys and bad guys. And then people are like, well, if I go along with them, even though they might be right, that makes me the bad guy.
A real quick update. United Airlines has asked the FAA on Tuesday to ground all its flights for around 40 minutes. That has been lifted. So that grounding of those United flights has been lifted. More Andy Frey Show in a minute.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisor Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. As a family business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. I have many female clients and widows that don't fully understand their investment choices. Would you like a retirement review and a second opinion on your current retirement plan? Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying, and would you like to learn how you can avoid those fees? Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees for the past 37 years. Let our family help your family. So go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance, these are the folks you want on your team when it comes to time to sell your home. If you've been considering selling your home in the Metro East on the Illinois side of the river, you want the experts at Jen Teskey and RE/MAX Alliance to make this a smooth sailing process. You want honesty, you want truth, but you also want kindness. That's Jen Teskey. She has a wonderful team that works with her to make sure that every step of the way you are putting your best foot forward with your real estate transaction. She has 15 plus years of experience helping families with the selling and buying of homes. She has a dedicated team of professionals that will treat you like family, that will be honest with you, that will help you succeed, and will get you across the finish line selling your home for the price that you have understood is agreed upon, and that you can then move forward in the next process of your real estate transaction. She is there with you in Edwardsville, Glen Maryville, Troy, and Collinsville. You can find her online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands to treat ED at up to 95% off. That's right, the same active ingredient as the brand name for 95% less. It's the same ED medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. hims.com/radio.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio. 97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A message
message from the White House to Congress. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
There is no reason for Congress to shut down the government. Absolutely none.
White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre says Congress should do its job and fund the government, though she also says it's clear a short-term measure will be needed, with funding set to run out at the end of this month. Some House conservatives are pushing for more cuts as part of any spending deal, along with border security measures. Only 9 days left until a possible strike against the big three automakers in Detroit, when their contract with the United Auto Workers Union expires. Jean-Pierre says President Biden is optimistic they can reach an agreement.
Remember, this is a president that believes in collective bargaining. He believes on both sides coming to the table.
She's not saying whether the administration would intervene if a deal is not reached. Attorneys for Alec Murdaugh, the former South Carolina attorney now in prison for killing his wife and son, just revealing details about their motion for a new trial. They're accusing a court clerk of having private talks with jurors. That clerk is an elected official who later wrote a book. Defense attorney Jim Griffin.
We were hitting brick walls until her book came out. And then jurors who obviously were not comfortable with how she handled matters were even less comfortable with her going on a book tour and making money off what she did. That's what was reported to us.
They accused the clerk of manipulating the jury, trying to speed deliberations on a verdict. They also say Murdaugh maintains his innocence, and they are hopeful of getting a new trial. A sentencing hearing now underway for former Proud Boys leader Enrique Tarrio, who was not in Washington on the day of the Capitol riot, but was convicted for helping to orchestrate an attack. Prosecutors want more than 30 years behind bars. 4 co-defendants in his case were sentenced last week to much less time than the government wanted. America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Ugh, I don't have time for a cold.
Honey.
Honey?
You need DayQuil Severe Honey flavor.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honey-licious taste. Because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey.
Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe Honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honey-licious. Power through your day, medicine.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Still have that summer humid feel today and tomorrow. Partly sunny skies this afternoon, a couple of spot storms. 92 will do it for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy, warm, and humid. Increasing winds tonight. Chance of a couple of spot storms. Very limited, 75. Wednesday, partly sunny, couple of spot storms. Windy, still humid, near 90 degrees. Cooler and drier air comes in on Thursday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Updating your home with James Hardie Siding has never been more popular. With all of the options available, you need a partner to maximize your investment. The rising prices on vinyl siding has made Hardie Siding a great alternative. Siding Express is ready to refresh the appearance of your home or totally transform the look by installing Hardie Shake, board and batten, lap siding, or a stone accent to make it your dream home again. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor. Need ideas? Go to sidingexpress.com and schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today.
I want to talk to you about how Stewart's American Mortgage and Stewie can help you get out from underneath that monster that is lurking around every corner, and that's your credit card debt. As costs have risen, I know that there are a lot of people listening right now who have credit card debt that they cannot get ahead of. Stewie has a solution for you for this problem, and it's a refinance. When you call Stewie at 314-324-4440, that's 314-324-4440, he's going to walk you through how you can get way ahead of this debt problem that you have right now. He was talking to me just the other day about some people who have 6 figures in credit card debt. It just got out of control much faster than they realized, and they haven't been able able to in this economy, get ahead of it. Stewie can do that with you. If you're looking to purchase a home as well, talk to him about how the bagel loan can help you. You pay nothing in closing costs when you use the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage. Call Stewie or text Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. You can Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
When you can't stop, there's Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub sends powerful medicated Vicks vapors right to the source of your... so you can experience cough relief and breathe easier. Generations of families have trusted Vicks VapoRub to help relieve the worst cold symptoms. So next time you have a cough, reach for the Vicks VapoRub. Vicks VapoRub. Cough relieving is believing.
Angie makes it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get your home projects done well, from repair to remodel. Book instantly at an upfront price or request quotes from multiple pros. Get started on the app or go to Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
I'm Jim Onder. When you're injured and in your darkest hour, Onder Law is not only on your side, we're by your side.
Onder Law. Call 314 or 618-9000 to learn more.
Conservative solutions, objective conclusions. For news and opinion, this is St. Louis's home for conservative talk. 97.1 FM Talk. This hour of the Annie Frey Show is brought to you by Ruler Foods. Low prices, no coupons. Ruler Foods.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show.
The White House says First Lady Jill Biden has tested positive for COVID-19. President Biden has tested negative. The First Lady is experiencing mild symptoms and will remain at the Biden family home in Delaware.
So we're going to find this out now every time somebody of political notoriety gets COVID. I guess we're going to know. But it extends beyond politicians.
As you can see, Whoopi is not here. She has COVID. Yes, it's back. It's back.
It's back.
But she's on the mend. She's on the tail end, and she'll probably be back this week. But sorry she's not here. For those of you who are looking forward to seeing her.
I don't know that really the argument was that it ever really left in the first place. I don't really ever feel like COVID was ever done. What I know is that people were done with COVID and done with the pandering that would be put in place by people in positions of power to make sure that they would constantly be at the forefront of conversation. So Whoopi Goldberg and Jill Biden have COVID. That sounds like the beginning of a joke. Listen to this Dr. McCary talk about
So
the
Dr. Fauci
masks.
did not refute the study. He didn't try to poke holes in it. He changed the subject. He created this arbitrary sort of delineation that there's individual masking and community masking, and individual may work and community may not. But we have spent a tremendous amount of energy and our time arguing over masking. It has an intervention that is essentially no benefit whatsoever. But we live in a new era of blind allegiance to certain public health officials. And that, I think, is the tragedy.
That is the tragedy of it. The idea that we are supposed to, it's the part of COVID that is over is the politicization of COVID. It's over. It's done. It's not going to happen again. I know that you're listening right now and you are beyond not letting that happen again in your life. And there are going to be people in your life who will wear masks. Let them wear masks. If at this point, those folks in your life are wearing masks because they're afraid to get COVID, what are you supposed to say to that individual? And if they want to come at you for not wearing a mask, just say, listen, I don't get on you for wearing a mask. You're not going to get on me for not wearing a mask. People are going to get COVID. People are going to get over COVID. And people are going to move on with their lives, much the same that we do with other illnesses that might have worse seasons in some cases over others. So Jill Biden has COVID. And I can only imagine that it's either as contagious as they say it is, or it's not. It has to be a matter of time before Joe Biden is going to get COVID. He was at his vacation home. Did you pull that clip where he was talking about being at his home? Did I send that to you? I can't always remember what I look at and what I send to you. He has spent so much time away from the White House. He was asked about being at the location he was at here this weekend, and he said, I'm just here for one day because his other home is under construction and they have to put a lot of security type of things in it because he's the president of the United States. So he said he couldn't go to his home, but I'm only here for one day. I think he spent 40% of his presidency away from the White House, not doing work. Why is his home not the White House? If he's going to spend this much time on vacation, if he wants to take his work to another location and continue to work, but man, this guy takes a lot of breaks. I don't understand how you get to be on this much vacation while you're campaigning to be the president of the United States. Everybody's making the issue about his age, but Brad, I don't really feel like the issue is his age. It's how he presents himself. Mm-hmm. It's not the fact that he is going to be 82 when the election when he would begin his next term. It's the fact that he acts like he's 92 and he's not equipped to do the job. I kind of feel like the age conversation is a red herring. It's more about who he is than how old he is.
Right. I mean, you listen to him speak and you feel like he's struggling sometimes just to get the words out, that it's a task. He's got very breathy as he's making his speech. And other times it's not like that. Other times he's very, I don't know, for Joe Biden, spry. I mean, he speaks like he's able to get the words out. People literally
go back to be like, do you remember his State of the Union? That is a Chris Coons bullet point on how shocking and ability of this president to do his job is articulated in his ability to finish the State of the Union in January, or maybe it was early February. It's not good. He slurs his words like crazy.
Mm-hmm. He slurs his words. He shuffles when he walks. He walks to the wrong side of the stage. He doesn't seem to know where he's supposed to be at or where he's supposed to go. And as your producer, there are things that I am in constant communication with you about and where I need you to do or what I need you to do with things. And then whenever I ask you to do it, you remember it. So I know the president gets these information. I know he gets the information before he goes up on the platform. Whenever you're finished, turn to your left, walk off the stage that way. And he goes the other way. So either he's not listening or he's forgetting what's going on. I have never seen this. I mean, presidents in my lifetime start at Reagan. I've never seen this with any other president. Yeah. Just completely lost. I've seen George W. Bush and his kind of George W. Bushness, his goofiness, but I've not
Biden's
seen...
goofiness is George W. Bush's goofiness on steroids. I mean, maybe literally. Listen to Mika Brzezinski.
In a dead heat in a 2024 general election matchup, in the survey, 46% say they would vote for Biden, while 46% say they would vote for Trump. 8% say they are undecided. So in this conversation, mixing this in really shows you where the country's at.
46, Trump and Biden. Biden is not for long to be able to persuade Americans that he's any different than what he is. People will have to determine that it's good enough if they're going to vote for Joe Biden, because the alternative is going to be Donald Trump. Then you have people out there like Bill Maher, who Bill Maher says common sense things in an uncommon place out of Hollywood on a regular basis. And conservatives love Bill Maher because he is the progressive that's not saying the progressive things. But then on Joe
in
Rogan,
Minnesota, for example, I think it was Minneapolis, after the George Floyd murder and the riots, I think there was a movement to disband a lot of the police, and they did. I think a lot of the police were let go, or somehow the police force was a lesser force than it was. And what happened was, of course, crime went up in certain areas, and a lot of the officers who had been fired or let go or quit, or for whatever reason they weren't on the force anymore, they were hired as private security. By who? The rich people who could afford to do it. So their neighborhood stayed safe. So that wasn't exactly, I thought, a victory for liberalism.
so Bill Maher is talking about how in Minnesota, that was one of the really strongholds of the Black Lives Matter, the anti-police sentiment. They voted to didn't they disband their police force? And they wanted to do it all like on community policing as opposed to like law enforcement policing. So they let go of these law enforcement, like Bill Maher is saying. The rich people, the people who could afford it, hire the former police officers as their private security. It's not exactly a win for liberalism. How can you have someone like Bill Maher out there on a podcast with Joe Rogan? Both of those people reach an enormous amount of individuals. And still, in a follow-up in that conversation, when Bill Maher was talking to Joe Rogan about Donald Trump and was going on about how Donald Trump's under all these indictments and so on and so forth, Bill Maher couldn't really articulate what kind of crimes Donald Trump actually committed. There's such a disconnect between what is really happening in this country and the shirt that we're supposed to put on, the blue one, the red one, when we get up in the morning to support a political party. And, you know, Ryan, if it's 46-46 right now, Trump and Biden's situation's only going to get more Biden, and Trump's situation's only going to get more Trump. 8% of the people in this country are going to decide this next election?
I think that shocks me that there were still 8% in this country in that poll anyway, and that poll's been widely cited, that still are going, I just don't know. I have a feeling that those people do kind of know. They just don't like the choices. So they're just not saying anything because they're going, I don't know. Maybe those people don't even vote in this next election. I guess we'll see.
I agree. I was like, I'm not shocked, but it's for the same reason that you just said. It's a group of people out there that are going, oh my gosh, can't we do better than these two guys? That's who that undecided group is. It's not that they think that they're going to, I like this about Trump and I like this about Biden. It's like, I don't like any one of these guys, and I don't even know if I want to vote.
Yeah, but what percentage of the 8% are going to not go vote in the process?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
What's really surprising to me is that we may be now turning that corner where Trump has had this stigma that you don't necessarily want to publicly say, if you're in the middle especially, that you voted for Trump, even if you kind of like the policies, you don't like the guy, whatever it is. But now it seems like, and Trump's had that the whole time, now it seems like Biden may have that too, where people just don't even want to say they're associated with the guy, which he did not have in the last election.
Does this 16% grow or shrink?
The New York hush money thing may go by the wayside, but these other cases are very serious and are going to present problems for the sitting president. And you mentioned 16% of Republicans believe that he has done something illegal in at least one of the three major cases, and as a result are less likely to vote for him. In 2020, he received 91% of Republicans. He lost 8% to either voting for Biden or voting for a third-party candidate. What happens if he loses 16% or 20% of Republicans in 2024? He's dead at the polls in November, as is the GOP.
16% of GOP voters say they think he's done something illegal. According to Karl Rove, if that 16% holds, he's dead in the water. The real question that we will have to watch and wait unfold as we arrive at an answer is, as these legal situations continue on for President Trump, does the 16% shift at all? Do any of them feel like, no, he is really getting hosed, and I don't think he did do anything illegal. I think they're trying to get him to keep him off of the ballot, which isn't going to happen, or to keep him from being able to win. When we're listening to Brian Kilmeade on the way into work today and listening to him interview Chris Christie. Chris Christie's talking about how Donald Trump is going to spend March and April in a courtroom. And if Donald Trump spends that period of time in an election year in a courtroom, that's going to be dramatically impactful to his ability to campaign. But then Brian Kilmeade adds in, what if he's winning in these court cases that are going to be potentially televised for the world to see? Could he ask for a better campaign opportunity than to beat the people who are attacking him in court? I don't know anybody I haven't talked to any legal experts who are confident, like fully confident, that Donald Trump is going to be exonerated in any of these. They think the charges are bogus. They think that it is absolutely a drummed up amount of charges that are brought against Donald Trump to hurt him politically, but they all cite the different locations that these court cases are going to be heard in. You're going to Manhattan, you're going to Fulton County, you're going to Washington, D.C. These are places that are not going to provide Donald Trump that impartial jury of his peers. They're just not. So if those court cases go on and he becomes guilty, I don't know if that 16% that Karl Rove is talking about changes at all. But what we cannot confuse is the people who support Donald Trump supporting him even harder and harder and harder, and confusing the volume of those voices with the mass of people that need to be able to show up at the polls to make sure that Donald Trump wins. That's what matters to me. And I don't have the answer to that question. I don't think that we're going to arrive at an answer to that question until we have the answer officially to the question. I don't imagine a scenario right now where Donald Trump isn't winning the primary. And we're going to have to dive into that 8% of undecided voters who pretty much live in 5 states across the country who are going to get to pick the next president of the United States. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about this viral video that hit the internet this weekend from a TikTok influencer. It's a 29-year-old unmarried woman. She doesn't have kids, and she decided to talk about it, and then everybody had some things to say about it. And we're going to play it for you here and get what you think about it. Plus, you can vote in our YouTube live chat poll. Which is a bigger turnoff for you? Consistent toxic negativity or persistent naive positivity? Go to the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Twitter @Annie Frey Show.
The Retirement Advisory Group at 314-993-9494 helps shift you from where you are right now at the end of your working time, your career, into that place where you get to enjoy retirement, relax, have a worry-free engagement into your retirement. You get to travel. You get to sit still for a while. Maybe you don't want to go anywhere right away. Spend more time with kids, with grandkids. The Retirement Advisory Group knows that you have your individual dreams that you've worked hard to provide for yourself when retirement sets in. But you want to make sure that regardless of who's the president or what the economy is right now, that you are going to be safe and secure in the retirement that you've built for yourself so far. Let the Retirement Advisory Group build your own personalized structured income plan. They can do that when you set up a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review by calling 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, and the Retirement Advisory Group will help guide you through this process. Have that free conversation with them and then make the decision as to whether or not you want to move on further. 314-993-9494. You can find them online at retirementkey.com.
I'm Jack Wagner, host of the show Otherworld, a podcast that tells stories of real people who experience something paranormal or unexplained. Before Otherworld, I wasn't even interested in the paranormal. That changed when I realized how many people are out there who have experienced something extraordinary and never told anyone about it. I started this show to take a grounded approach to the paranormal, help people tell their stories in their own words, and encourage more people to come forward with their own. Listen to Otherworld now for free on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
There are a lot of smart business people out there making smart decisions by getting Rhino Shield. The latest one, the Central Illinois Care Services, they have decided to go with Rhino Shield on the outside of their building so they won't have to worry about maintenance from now on. The list is long. Joe's Tire out in Sullivan, Stonehill Wineries in Herman. They've all got Rhino Shield on their buildings. You can have it on your business or your house. Just call 877-25-RHINO. Let Darren come out and give you a free estimate as to what it would cost to get this great product on your home. 25-year transferable warranty, 100% waterproof, 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, and as a satisfied customer, 15 years in, I can tell you it looks as good as the day they put it on. You're going to love Rhino Shield. Call them right now. Tell them you heard about it on the Mark Cox Morning Show. Again, 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
MLBshop.com has everything you need to rep the team you believe in, the players you love, and the community you come from. So snag all those hoodies, caps, jerseys, and swag, and wear your pride with style at home, on the streets, and wherever you go. And with exclusive offers every day, you can unapologetically strut your stuff for a price you love as much as your team. Visit MLBshop.com, the official online shop of Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Hey, football season is finally getting going, and with all the hype and action the season brings, we know things can get really loud and messy quick. So before you invite friends and family over to watch any games, you better call Zero Res to clean up all the fumble moments in your home. They've happened all summer. Let's do something about it. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros. And by the way, they have great offers for the month of September. Let's talk about your ductwork. You got to do the ductwork. $50 off your air duct cleaning this month. That's going to help alleviate allergies and asthma. You'll enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and let's face it, your home's going to stay cleaner longer. If you're doing the carpets this month, it is 3 rooms starting at $129. Don't forget, Zero Res are pros. They're not do-it-yourself. You want to do it the right way? Schedule your appointment at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020. You got to mention my name or 97.1 FM Talk to get the special. You spell it backward or forward. It spells the same. Zero Res.
You're listening to the Annie Frey Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Keeping you connected and aware. In the world, the country, and the community. And offering more ways than ever to listen conveniently. Tell your smart speaker to play 97.1 FM Talk or download the Odyssey app. This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Thanks for being with us. It's a Tuesday afternoon after a long Labor Day weekend. Had a great weekend myself. We'll talk about our long weekend in a few minutes, but let's get to Senator Mitch McConnell, who is speaking, welcoming back the Senate on the Senate floor right now.
Welcome our colleagues back from the August work period. Spending time back in our states with the folks we represent isn't just part of our job. More than anything else, it's what allows us to be effective here in Washington. Now, one particular moment of my time back home has received its fair share of attention in the press over the past week. But I assure you, August was a busy and productive month for me and my staff back in the Commonwealth. I kicked off the month in West Kentucky and then in my hometown of Louisville, where I met with small businesses and community leaders. We had a candid conversation on the critical issues facing our state, from relentless inflation straining families and business owners to the challenge of finding workers in a lagging labor market. I also had a chance to travel to the eastern part of Kentucky, where I met with healthcare and recovery workers in Manchester. Tragically, the substance abuse crisis has become even deadlier in recent years, especially in my home state. So we discussed what we're doing to combat it and find ways the federal government can fill the gaps. I also welcomed Dr. Rahul Gupta, the National Drug Czar, back to the Commonwealth to hear more about what we're doing to fight back against addiction. I look forward to continuing working with Dr. Gupta to make Kentucky a safe and healthier place. Throughout the month, I was pleased to see over $6 million go toward addressing the opioid crisis at home. This federal funding will go a long way in supporting programs that offer a lifeline to countless Kentuckians who struggle with substance abuse. In Bowling Green, I met with community bankers to discuss what Senate Republicans are doing to put a check on the Biden administration's reckless spending and regulatory overreach. At the Kentucky State Fair, I had a chance to indulge in some of the best that the Bluegrass has to offer, like the Farm Bureau's famous ham breakfast. This event is a highlight of mine every August, and this year was no exception. I met with farmers from across the state to discuss their priorities and concerns as Congress takes up the all-important Farm Bill. This input will be vital to our work here in the Senate in the months ahead. In northern Kentucky, I wrapped up the month with local business leaders to talk about some of our landmark infrastructure investments underway in the state, like overhauling the Brent Spence Bridge and revitalizing our river ports and railroads. From rural farm families to businesses of all sizes, every Kentuckian I met voiced the same message. There's too much government and too little being done to boost the economy and help everyday people. So as the Senate gets back to work in Washington, I'll keep these conversations and concerns in the forefront of my mind. This month, of course, Congress needs to address our nation's most pressing needs with timely appropriations, and we need to keep the lights on come October 1st. Back in January, I pointed out that Washington Democrats, the new normal they faced. The American people have elected divided government and demanded that we work together on our most basic governing responsibilities. Well, as I've reminded our colleagues regularly since then, that meant funding the government through regular order. It's been encouraging to see Senator Collins, Senator Murray, and our colleagues on the Appropriations Committee make serious headway in that direction.
Senator Mitch McConnell speaking from the Senate floor right now as they are back in session. And we listened to him as he's introducing and welcoming people back. And he made a little bit of a wink towards his medical episode that he had when he was in district and he froze up and people suggested maybe it was mini strokes or seizures or something like that. We have a medical, there's a news released today that that's not what it was. And if you want to hear Chad Pergram report on it, he was with us at 125 on the Odyssey app. You can rewind about 125 and listen to his comments about Mitch McConnell's health and the medical professional's reaction to the report. But I don't know if his acknowledgement of it in this way, he didn't act, he did acknowledge it.
Yeah.
That's something.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if like vintage healthy Mitch McConnell is really what I would think of as auditorily compelling.
No.
So I don't know. I'm not going to subject you to all of that. It's funny to go to Mitch McConnell and then just pop up President Biden right now and see if he says something stupid or he's giving the Medal of Honor to a Vietnam veteran. So that's a pretty cool thing.
We give this heroism its full recognition that it deserves. Born in the volunteer state, raised by a World War II veteran, duty defined Larry Taylor's life from his earliest days. As a young man, he volunteered to join the college ROTC unit at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Then, after graduating in 1966, he commissioned as an armor officer. Larry had dreamed of leading men in the battle on what he called chariots of steel. But it didn't take many days on the ground for Larry to realize he belonged in the sky. He wanted to be a pilot, not just any pilot, a Cobra pilot, flying the newest, fastest, deadliest Army helicopter at the time. A gunship built for only 2 people and their ammo. So when Larry was ordered, was offered a spot to fly in the fighting.
So,
first in
I mean, I'm not
Vietnam,
going to disparage
he jumped
the
at the
purpose
chance.
with which he's speaking right now, but it's kind of an interesting juxtaposition, isn't it, to watch Mitch McConnell in the Senate, Joe Biden as the president of the United States. I mean, I don't know. Nancy Pelosi can be up here pretty soon. We'll get all 3 parts of 2 branches of government. What do we do about it? As I was speaking with Chad Pergram earlier on the show about removal, you can do a 2/3 removal vote, which is expulsion, and he's like, no way that's happening with any of these people. And that's pretty understandable. You're not going to expel. What you do is you persuade and you persuade and you persuade to step down, but you don't remove them. So that's not going to happen. The American voter has to be held to a higher standard of paying attention so that you can know what you're voting for. And I don't really know that that's the direction we're going in. The sensationalism behind campaigning, the emotional sensationalism that exists in the millions and millions and millions of dollars that are spent to make you feel a certain way in a certain moment about a certain person without really even having to think about it. You just need to feel about it. That's how they compel people who don't pay a lot of attention to the details, don't know the questions to ask, the follow-up questions to ask. And then the party in power continues to exist, or the people in power, not even the party. I think the biggest problem is the amount of money that is in primary politics.
You talked about this with Chad Pergram, and he mentioned this. Nikki Haley had said we should have some sort of cognitive test to keep people from, serving too long or whatever it is. And he mentioned that that might actually be unconstitutional. And really, if you pay attention to politics, if you watch what's going on, if you look at Joe Biden, you say Joe Biden's too old. Well, Joe Biden's still in office because people voted him into office. If you look at Mitch McConnell, you say Mitch McConnell's too old, Dianne Feinstein's too old, Nancy Pelosi's too old. It's on both sides of the aisle. But the reason these people are still in office is because people continue to vote for them and put them in office. The check against bad governance, the check against incompetent governance, the check against people who shouldn't be in office is you, the voter. And until you guys step up, and I'm putting this on you because you're the ones listening. You can tell your friends this too. But until the electorate steps up and actually starts holding people accountable, that we're going to get more of this. We don't need all of these. We don't need term limits. We don't need any of that. We don't need age limits. What we need is an informed, well-informed, and engaged electorate who will not vote just simply based on the R or the D by the name of the person because the other person bad.
The idea of term limits and the idea of, imposing an age limit at the top. We already have the 35 entry level for president. Senate and House have 30 and 25, I think is what it is. when you impose more limits like that, it might on the surface feel like you're limiting people, you're limiting government, but really what you're doing is you're limiting who the American people can put in government. So the limitation of a term limit, the limitation of an age limit, takes less people off the table for the American people to say, this is who needs to be in there. And when you put those limitations into play, you're shrinking the pool for the American people. I could understand how it also would shrink the ability to, thread the tentacles of big government and big politicians to continue to maintain that over the course of years and decades like the president is. But at the same time, there will still be, you put term limits in, there are still going to be farm systems that are run by the same big money and the same big players who are making lots and lots of money off of these farm systems. If you understand like the sports analogy of having somebody who is getting ready to get the call up, those people will still have control over those seats in the way that they have control over those seats right now, unless the American people say, no more. And it's a really big deal to try to flip the status quo. And I'm sure that the Republicans are thinking, if you're listening to me right now, and I'm saying this, you're probably thinking like, sure, I'm all for it, but the Democrats go first. You don't want to upend the system on your end for fear that you would have to deal with the consequences of those actions, while the Democrats are like, well, we're just going to keep winning the way we know how to win, which is this way. It's kind of shocking to look at the leaders. I mean, Kevin McCarthy being the Speaker of the House is, I guess he's a whippersnapper at 58 years old. I have no problem with him being 58, but if he was a senile 58, if he was a person who was of 58 years of age and he couldn't represent his constituents in California, but as the Speaker of the House, the people in the Republican Party and the slim majority that he has, got to get somebody else. And I don't want big money to be there to constantly be insulating government from the American people, and that would happen with term limits as well. All right, when we come back, I want to talk about this woman, this 29-year-old single woman. Since Speaker McConnell, Leader McConnell was talking to me, I wanted to play it just to see if he said anything about his health, and he acknowledged it a wee bit, but not a whole lot. Let's talk about this TikToker, 29 years old, unmarried, childless woman, and she had an easygoing weekend, and she wanted to tell people about it. This is what influencers do. I don't think it's unusual, but the internet reacted in a big, big way. Let's discuss it and the YouTube live chat poll when we come back.
The Annie Frey Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
When you are looking for windows, it's going to be a big investment, and you know that it's not like the most exciting purchase you're ever going to make. So when you buy windows, you want to buy a window that you're not going to have to replace again anytime soon. Window World has a solution for you. They have a lifetime warranty that covers all parts, glass breakage, and labor. Window World is simply the best for less. That's what they want you to understand when you're shopping for windows. You can call them at 314-993-1800 and get a great, great quality window for less. They also will make it easier on you to be able to replace all the windows that you need to replace. A lot of times my house is at 23 years old or something like that. So everything is consistently breaking down, needing to be replaced. You might find yourself in that position where it's not just one window that the grandkid broke, it's the whole house of windows. Can you do them all? Well, when you get 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit, you're going to get a lot closer to being able to make a smart financial decision for your house, which is going to include that insulated window that's going to keep the energy that you're paying to heat and cool inside your house heated and cooled inside your house. Window World is there to make that process smooth sailing. 314-993-1800. That's 314-993-1800. If you have any questions or you want a free in-home estimate, give them a call at 314-993-1800 or find them online at windowworld.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow, and hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes, and find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory firm in Missouri and Illinois. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki created Neovitin 15 years ago to help support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Since then, Neovitin has helped thousands of people support their daily nutrition with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend. If you're ready to join many St. Louisans in supporting their nutrition, give Neovitin a try. You can find Neovitin at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
The Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll of the day: which is a bigger turnoff for you? Consistent toxic negativity or persistent naive positivity? You get to choose one of those two. We'll talk about that in just a second. It's 2:47. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
The Mark Reardon Show.
Virginia Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears has a brand new book out called How Sweet It Is, Defending the American Dream, and she'll join me Tuesday afternoon.
Weekdays from 3 to 6 on 97.1 FM Talk. You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Frey Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. This poll question for today: which is a bigger turnoff for you, consistent toxic negativity or persistent naive positivity? Is something I've been thinking about in the political world that I find myself living in most places that I go, because I think that there are people who I think they look at each other the same way, like as ignorant and as uninformed. people who are always negative about everything all the time, and people who are just very high on the things that they're very high on, and they can naively bob and weave through the facts that might be delivered and still come out feeling like it smells like a rose. And one of I feel like everything that we need to be caring about is much more living in a gray area than that. And this woman, this TikTok influencer, I don't even know what her name is. Do we know what her name is? We don't have her name. She's 29 years old. She's going to tell us a little bit about herself in this clip. She's 29 years old. She doesn't have kids. Listen to her post here.
It's 10:45 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm 29 and single, and I don't have kids yet. Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house. I didn't rise from my bed until 10:15. Every time I thought, I should probably get up and do something. I thought, why? Nobody's making me. I'm not missing out on anything. I went to Beyonce last night, and I didn't get home until 1 a.m. And I danced and drank my little heart out, and I didn't pay a babysitter to watch my kids as I did that. And I woke up a tad hungover this morning, which is probably why I was in bed for so long. And I was just scrolling on my phone, and I saw a picture of shakshuka, and I thought, you know what sounds really good? Maybe I'm going to learn how to make shakshuka today, because I have no plans, and I don't have kids, and I don't have a husband, and I don't have errands to run. I can go to the grocery store and learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today. Also on my agenda, probably a rewatch of some Real Housewives of New York. I'm also doing a rewatch of Normal People on Hulu, which is really spicy and I highly recommend. Weirdly, I'm into this documentary on Netflix about blue zone countries, so I've got a pretty stacked day. Anyway, I say all this to say, whenever I'm hard on myself about why I'm not married and I don't have kids and I should be further along at 29, almost 30, I wouldn't want to do anything else this Saturday. And I know that you can do all these things when you have kids and you're married, and I understand, but the effortlessness and ease of my life, just kind of focusing on myself and the shakshuka I want to make or the Beyonce concert I want to go to, really pays off when I'm hard on myself for not being where society tells me I should be in life.
So to this woman, the only thing that I just cannot level with her is the vocal fry. I can't. I cannot get past it. It was making me itch if you go back and I can't. Setting that aside, because it has to be said. There are a lot of people I know who are 29 and single. They're older than that and single. They don't have kids. There are reasons for that, maybe because they've been selective and the people who they've come across haven't been the right one. Maybe there are a lot of people. I never question why people don't have kids. It's none of my business. If they would like to tell me, I would listen. But I also don't compare the fact, like, here's what we're seeing a lot, in my opinion, from the conservative right on this woman. If I were to follow in the footsteps of what I see a lot of critics of hers saying, I'd be like, look at how fulfilling my life is. I have 4 kids and they're the, existence that I live for. And I'm so fulfilled. And I have a husband and he's great. And Marf, that's what they're going to hear. Just because I have those things, I'm 39, so I'm a little bit older than she is. But I had 2 kids by the time I was 29 and I was married at 23. That worked for me. I don't really hear her saying in that message that she doesn't like people with kids and that she is choosing to be a childless 29-year-old woman whose entire day is a pretty stacked day. It's going to be based on shakshuka, which I had to Google. You know why? Because I make Kraft macaroni and cheese every day for my children, who I'm very happy to do that for. We live different lives. I don't know why she's single. She didn't say in that video why she's single. I don't think that the right, which this becomes political because everything is political, I don't think that the right wins the battle that they're trying to fight. When they listen to this woman and say, the only way forward is to have a family, have kids, to do all the things that maybe us on the right do more frequently or with more excitement, to focus on our identity as a mom, a parent, or as a wife, a spouse. I don't really feel like what she's saying there is that she's like, this is the pinnacle of where she wants to be. I actually almost hear a little bit of longing to say, listen, if you're in my position in life, if you're 29 and single and you don't have kids, you can still have a great day. And her day sounds fantastic to me. I looked at shakshuka. I think I might eat that. I don't know that I'd be opposed to it. I would like that day. I don't want them all. I want one day like that. And I think that the internet is a false reality where all of a sudden we're like, we got to fight for families. We got to take it out on her. Thoughts?
When I listen to it, like I hear what you're hearing whenever I listen to it. Actually, the first time I saw the video, I wasn't able to listen to it. I was reading closed captions, which I think
that's so sad.
Well, I think it forced me to pay attention to what she was saying and not so much on the tone and stuff like that. And yeah, I think that there's a part of her that says, you know, she admits I'm hard on myself sometimes about not being farther along on the life. Like, she does want to have a family. She does want to have kids. So I think that there's part of her that wants that, and she's trying to convince herself, hey, you haven't done it yet. It's not so bad. Chill out. It's going to happen. And whatever, that's great. I'm with you. I don't think that the way that you went on this is to dunk on people who are saying, because she's not saying what I've heard, like, I think Chelsea Handler say, where...
No. That's totally different.
Which I say, go ahead and go after Chelsea Handler because she's
Chelsea Handler.
Yeah. She's out there doing what she's doing for a reason. Anyway, this young lady here, I don't know if I should say young lady. This
29,
woman,
you darn right you should. She's very young and youthful and vibrant and thin.
I think she's just kind of self-soothing herself over the internet with her followers saying, hey, I don't have it all that I want yet, but that's okay. I still had a pretty good Saturday.
What did you think, real quick? We don't have much time. You get like
everything I didn't really have a problem with almost everything she said, other than she just kept saying, like, here's what I'm looking to for fulfillment. And it was pretty vapid. It was like, I'm going to watch Real Housewives. Well, that's okay. I mean, nothing she's saying is wrong. It just seems like she's trying to cope with her situation.
Yeah. And it was, I just think it's blown out of proportion.
I do too.
I kind of want to, I might talk about it more later this week. The YouTube live chat poll from today is, which is a bigger turnoff for you? Is it consistent toxic negativity or persistent naive positivity? I find this very interesting. On our YouTube live chat poll, 23% of you said that persistent naive positivity is a bigger turnoff. 77 said consistent toxic negativity. And when I go to my poll on Twitter, which I've been running for a while, it's 74% said negativity. So on Twitter, 74% vote negativity, and on our YouTube, 77%. Pretty close.
Yeah, it is close.
Thanks for voting with us. Stick around. The Mark Reardon Show coming up next.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
It's good to shop with local people. I think that's an important thing to consider when you are shopping for anything. But in St. Louis, we have the great honor to be able to shop at Michael's Flooring Outlet, especially after you've shopped other places. They always say, go check out whomever you want to. Just make sure you come by Michael's Flooring Outlet or go online to igotfloor.com before you make your final purchase. They have great products, the top quality products that you're looking for at a wonderful value. When you go online to igotfloored.com, you are going to be able to request an estimate. You can look through their products and shop the different types of flooring that you might be looking for: carpet, carpet tile, hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl, waterproof flooring. For whatever your circumstances. In my house, we've got little kids and we've got a dog, so we need flooring in our house that's going to be able to stand the test of time that we're going to be living on it. They can help guide you through all those purchases, like a Mohawk Smart Strand carpet brand, a Techwood Plus flooring brand. It's all online at igotfloored.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call